I'm going to get you to introduce your characters, by the way, in your fledgling voice that you'll probably have tried to. Whoop, there we go, and that.
I've rehearsed all day.
You've been rehearsing all day.
It's gonna be my voice.
It doesn't. Yeah, you don't need to go over the top with it. It's okay. Yeah. So as I said, some of you are common folk, some of you are noble folk, and where we are at the moment is that the tradition of the trial of fire and ice has been sacrosanct for 100 generations now, and it's what denotes the common folk, the runts and the calves being the young noble folk who basically haven't yet passed the trial, and the rest. And to pass it, basically, no one knows what the trial is. Only the free folk know, and they are sworn to secrecy, not to tell anybody. So it's a nerve-wracking time for everybody involved, because basically you have no idea what you're walking into. So normally quite a few common folk every year try to take part in the trials of fire and ice. However, last year 6 entered and only 2 survived, and there was a huge uproar. We've never had such a mortality rate in the trial before. I mean, most of you haven't really paid attention to what's been going on in the greater world. Freya, you'll have more of a sense of what's happening, and I will talk to that in a second. And in fact, it will come out through the conversation anyway. But certainly, normally there's a much higher uptake than this. And this year, all you've heard of is 3 names have been spoken of in the run-up to the Trial of Fire and Ice. And that's Gaetan Wolfsbane, and everybody has heard of Gaetan Wolfsbane because he's basically a little bit of a folk hero, not just in Norburg where you live, but also in surrounding villages. Common boy does good. Now the wolves of the north have never strayed too far south, and if they do, they tend to keep away from humans. However, a few summers ago, a huge pack led by a monstrous wolf descended into the fields, and there was a huge amount of farmers out. It was a beautiful summer's day, toiling the fields, and these wolves brazenly attacked the humans, unheard of this far south. And there was no guards defending the farmers because they've never had to. And all there was a young lad named Gaetan, who was a son of one of the farmers, and he grabbed hold of a pitchfork, defended off the wolves, chased them off with his ferocity, and managed to even slay one of the wolves with just a pitchfork. Now, obviously, the story spread quite far, and Gaetan was given the honorific of Wolfsbane from quite a young age. Now he's obviously a very mature 17-year-old, and he's been brought forward. I mean, everyone was expecting this. They were just waiting for the time, because there's a lot of hunters out there, trained warriors. Now, the noble families trained for years to fight, and there was this upstart commoner who was getting unable to wield a weapon without any training whatsoever. And since then, he's become quite friendly with a lot of the hunters. He's been getting training, and secretly, there's a lot of talk about sort of bringing him up the ranks. So that's what everybody knows about Gaetan, and James can talk to him in a second in character.
Big energy coming from that guy.
Sorry?
So that guy's got some big dick energy.
Mate, he is stacked. He is a unit, and he looks damn fine too. I mean, he doesn't look anything like the rest of his commoners. I mean, they tend to be a slightly scrawnier breed. They don't tend to have to work out their muscles too much. I mean, apart from obviously the woodsmen do have quite strong arms, and in fact the woodsmen are always fantastic fighters if there ever skirmishes are needed to be had. And he has, even though he didn't even have a woodsman background, he came from the farmer stock of the community. He now works as a woodsman, and he is built. You don't miss him. Then there's Alithanar. Alithanar, nobody knows much about at all. He basically is of noble stock. In fact, he's been trained by Hydron and Kettle, who are 2 learned members of the community, as you'll know. Hydron Longtooth, who's the clan shaman, and the wise man who basically oversees any sort of the word any sort of ceremony that takes place in the village, and Kettle Fireburn, who's the clan healer and alchemist. Between them, they basically hold the core knowledge of the village, and they're what you would be known as the wise men of the village. Both of them are still quite strong. I mean, poor old Hydron is ancient now. I mean, he must be at least in his 50s or 60s. So he is withered and old. This land is not kind to you. It's brutal. The weather's always harsh. The winters are long, and so it takes a toll on the skin. You don't look in your prime in your 60s in this place, I'll tell you that. And then there's Freya Steinhard. Now, this is quite a lot of controversy over this. There's no need for her to take part in these trials. She's already a freeman, effectively. However, she's obviously beholden to her father, Jarl, who is all of your leader. Jarl Reinhard is a massive man, similar sized actually to Gaetan, and he is a mighty warrior, seconded only in his fighting abilities to Godrand Swordborn, who is another nobleman but an incredible fighter and Jarl's best friend. And Freya is obviously Jarl's only daughter, and but most people talk about Steiner, Jarl's son, who's a few years older than Freya and is already lining up. He's an incredible hunter, incredible fighter. He's already been out many times into the wilderness, and he and has dealt with all sorts of insurrections and incursions into the lands. So that's the only three that have stepped forward. No other commoners have come forward. None of the other nobility. There's a little bit of nervousness, though you don't know why. And so you were given clear instructions to basically at your houses, your huts.
Because 2 of 6 survived last time. That's 1/3. So one of us is surviving. Good luck, you guys.
I mean, you all feel fairly confident, but there is a
signing up to this, to be honest.
there is a certain
Harry one drunk night. Yeah, I'm due to fire allies.
Bet I could do it. Go on then.
I've already got the fire part.
Yeah, fucking why not?
So basically, during the day, as you prepared for this, now there's a ceremony tonight, but the actual trial doesn't start until tomorrow. Okay, a package is delivered to the door of your hut. It contains a white tunic with some leathery undergarments and a knife. And you are told quite simply to don the clothing and bring the knife. There's a little like a sash band around the waist that you tie, and that basically, yeah. So basically, you don the white robe, and you stow the dagger, the knife. It's like a hunting knife, so it's got a sort of serrated part and a hook on the end. It's something that you've all used before. You can gut fish with it. You can even chop up wood with it, and you can obviously use it as a weapon to hunt in various ways. And you're told to come to the village council fire that evening, which you do. Now, in the council, the fire is huge and illuminates all of the freemen who are in this great council hall at the centre of the village. I mean, it's not a grand building by any southern means, but certainly for Norburg, it's the largest single building in the space. There's a huge hole in the top where the smoke rises and goes out, and everyone sits around on benches. Standing in the middle of the fire is the ancient wizard form of Hydron, and next to him is Jarl.
Hey, Daddy.
Yeah. Yes. The three of you are ushered in, and you stand at the very edge of the fire. Everyone, settle down. Settle down. Thanks again for coming for the yearly the yearly ceremony of fire and ice. Obviously, you all know what happened last year, and we only have 3 fantastic applicants for this year's trial. Obviously, as you know from the other years, Hydron will walk you through what we're going to do. Now, the applicants have never been here before. Full disclosure, I have not said anything. You can see, by the way, that Jarl is not a natural speaker into large groups. He's a fantastic fighter. He's not the most imaginative or intelligent of people, but that's not why he was made the boss. It's because his dad was, and his granddad was, and his great-granddad was. And so he just kind of landed into it. As you know, Freya, he's a bit simple-minded, but he's got a heart of gold. Yeah, so I don't want to talk too much. There's nothing much to be said. I'm going to pass you over to Hedron. Hedron, you've got to take this, please. He steps off to the side. The smoke's starting to get into his throat. The old man starts walking around the group. Everybody, thank you very much for coming. Thank you to our contestants who are going to be taking part in the Fire and Ice trial. Why don't you introduce yourselves, please? Speak up, speak loud. This is your first time potentially speaking as freeman amongst your peers. And this is your first test. Just tell us something about yourself and make it loud, make it so everybody can hear. Freya, start with you, please.
Hi, as you all know me as the son of Jarl, daughter of Jarl. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not very good at speeches in front of large groups of people. But I'm hoping that my learnings from the men of my father, that I can apply that to whatever comes my way.
Indeed, your family honour is at stake here. But
my family honour is what I will be fighting for.
Yeah, Jarl stands up. That's my girl! That's my girl! He sits down again.
Grr.
Grr.
Gaetan, we've all heard your name. Tell us about yourself. Speak up, your first chance. Rise above your common ancestry.
I'm Gaetan. The name that you all know, but I feel has not been earned yet. I will be seeing to these trials to make sure that the name being known is something I've earned, rather than being given.
Yeah. We must all be forged our name in blood. Strength, that is that we're known. Strength of arms, of mind, of body, of soul, of spirit. Here, Gaetan. And Alith, tell us about yourself, Alith. Speak up. Let your name be heard as a freeman, potentially. This way.
Well, I was not too keen on this whole fire and ice thing, but I guess I can go with the fire part. I do not like to kill or do any of that. I'm just merely a kind sorcerer. But,
No, there's no killing here. There's no honour in killing.
You just said blood.
Your own blood.
Oh. I don't want that anymore than the other option.
I see. Not the most inspiring of words for me there, Alith. Hopefully you can show us your worth in the trial.
I do not remember wanting to do this, but thank you.
It's your family honour, you fool. You can always give up now. Go back to your books.
No, I will prove myself as you demand.
We will see. Of the other two, I have hope. Of you, you are a bookworm. You should return to the library. What do you say to that?
Do not underestimate me. That is a regret.
A regret of me or you? Show me what you've got.
They say knowledge is power. At least give him a chance.
And I know a lot.
Freya speaks wisely. Indeed, this is true. This is what the trial is for. We are all equal here. My words were perhaps a little harsh, Alith. I apologise. It is true. Everybody make a persuasion roll, by the way, in your Discordian. Chaticus.
How do I do that?
Well, it should work with us being able to use something like.
Can you do X amount like persuasion or something? Or do you just do the 1d20 plus?
Exclamation mark persuasion did not work. Or did I spell persuasion wrong?
No.
No. Okay, just do a 1d20 check. We can do it. We can do it. We can do it the old school way.
How do I do that?
You roll exclamation mark roll 1d20 plus whatever your bonus is.
Yeah.
Ah,
So if you do exclamation roll 1d20 for now,
That's a terrible roll.
Oh!
yeah. So you can either use persuasion or performance.
I don't. Yeah. I did well. I don't think it matters. Got a 20 on the roll.
Okay. Well, I know Freya, you have +6 in both performance
I've
and
got
persuasion.
+4 in persuasion, so I'll go with persuasion.
Write that, but without the dot at the start.
Okay. So what did you get?
Okay.
I got 13.
Okay.
I got 24 with a natural 20.
Jesus Christ. Gaetan. Everyone is like, Gaetan! 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 A few people are like, oh, no, I reckon Alif can do it. Freya, what did you
How am
get?
I doing this wrong?
Just copy and paste what I put. You need to put spaces between the
Yeah, you have to have the space between the roll.
New to this.
That's okay. Everybody's new to it once when they first
Wow.
start.
We did well.
Freya, your voice. While in fact, I'm going to give you an advantage. This is mostly because of your background and the fact you're fairly comfortable speaking here. When you roll with advantage, you basically get to roll 2d20, 2 of the dice, and take the best one. When you roll disadvantage, you roll 2 of the dice, and you take the worst one. So if you're trying to juggle while standing on one foot, you're going to be doing it with disadvantage. Yeah, you know, if you're trying to juggle when you... Yeah, I can't think of the example now. That's a terrible example.
Worry about.
Yeah, pretty weird example.
So I
18
gotta
more
roll
seconds.
again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then just take a better number, which is probably going to be your second roll.
Possibly. Or might not.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Second.
Alright.
I
Okay.
guess I'm doing you
I'll take that one.
Your voice at first starts off a bit faulted, weak.
It's
But then...
because I talk and do my speeches like my father.
Yeah, basically. But then you kind of start to get your stride, and you realise that you don't need to be nervous. You're already respected amongst these elders here, as the daughter of the Lord. You know, you've spoken to these people before, and your confidence builds, and you manage to get your stride. By the end of it, they're all impressed. Everybody starts giving out a bit of a round of applause for the three of you. Excellent, excellent.
Old Athena.
Very good. Even you passed.
Ah, really?
You passed. You didn't pass like oh. You just went.
Passed, just not with merit.
Yeah, you got a C minus.
To be or not to be?
Yeah.
That is the question.
Gaetan's like, on my honour, I am not worthy, but I shall become worthy. I shall become the greatest of the all, but still be humble.
And
And they're
Alice
like,
is just like, I'm a bookworm.
yeah,
Read it.
I'm doing this because I have to, but I will do it and I will succeed. Okay,
LPB.
the trial! Let us to the trial! Tomorrow morning, you shall leave this place with just the clothes that you wear now tonight, the ceremonial robes. They offer little protection, I'm afraid. and you the knife, and you will bear a torch from this fire in the morning. You must take that torch and travel 2 days north to the watchtower of Heimdall, and then you may stay there 1 night. You can trade anything that you are able to find and make trade worthy on the way with the guards of the tower. Then you have 1 day to travel north to the great tree. There you must climb to the branch that stands proud many, many, many meters above the ground, carving your name, and return to the tower before sunset. If you fail the first time to the tree, you are allowed 1 more time to the tree the next day, and then you can make your way back. You are given no water, you are given no food, you are given nothing to wear but what you have. You have a knife, you have your wits and your skill and your breeding, and the honor of your family is to keep you warm. Now, there is a slight change to the rules, as we have discussed this amongst the elders. There is a strange sense of foreboding in the air. The wolves are travelling further south. Creatures from the mountains have been seen far beyond the white, and so we will allow on this one occasion that the 3 of you will be able to travel together as one. But you must all watch out for each other. You will only allowed to help each other once when requested. You get 1 request for help from each other, whatever that may be. And you do not to give any others, though. If you ask for others and they give it, that is your choice. But 1 you have to give. And this is the first year we have done this for generations, but it is dark times, and we are worried, full of worry that the road is darker than normal. And after last year, where sadly 4 of our brave villagers lost their lives, we do not feel that even this trial, as sacrosanct as it is, as important it is to our culture, we do not feel that the loss of more lives to that level is justifiable. Now, the 3 of you, 2 of you at least, have well-known, respected skills, abilities, physical prowess to achieve this. 1 of you, Alith, good luck. I'm sure you'll be fine. I'm sure you'll be fine.
I will be the one that is asked for help. Do not worry.
I do not see how that is possible, but I respect your confidence, and that confidence will see you through, he says, munching on a bit of root.
I have a guardian angel watching over me. You do not understand.
Oh. We all have the Yagamama of the woods. She protects us. Even in these strange times of changing gods and falling empires, Yagamama of the woods, she still protects us. Praise the Yagamama. Everyone goes, praise the Yagamama.
Yes. Dragon
Basically, one thing you know you know quite a lot about Yagamama. Yagamama is a spirit that lives in the woods. None of you have ever seen. No one's ever seen her. But supposedly, she is incredibly powerful, ancient matron of a woman who guards all of the woodland area and protects all of your villages. They say that's one of the main reasons that the outsiders have never made their way into your villages, is because of the Yagamama. Yagamama is not an official god. It's just a spirit that they believe in. Whether it's true or not, you might find out one day. But for now, praise the Yagamama.
I have a question for Al Roble.
Okay.
I'm asking for a friend, but what is the current Lord of Hell, or the equivalent?
There isn't one.
He was like, Satan.
Well, it was.
In a few years' time, Harry, it'll be you.
Yeah, I think that's Thalaria.
Thalaria. I mean, I don't mind worshipping Thalaria. See, I heard probably the most powerful god. Probably that one.
I'm sure that's up for debate. Varys, mate? No. I mean, people still talk about Old One Eye. And Old One Eye is what was known as the sort of Satan Beelzebub figure of before the fall of gods. Now, God has disappeared. That doesn't mean Satan has. So Old One Eye, the fallen one, still is seen as an evil spirit, someone that basically has a legion of demons at his call, and who lives in the fire domain, or in the depths of hell. Those stories are still told about. However, no one knows whether that's still true, given the God Wars that the God Wars. Oh, that's a few hundred years in the future. Given the given the fall of the old God and the rise of the new gods. That's all you know.
All right. The unclean, the unfaithful one it is.
Yeah.
Not that I would worship such
No. Old One Eye. He
sounds like a horrible person.
He's a foul and fell beast. The master of lies and deceit and suffering and death.
Definitely.
You not wish to tally with that man being.
Mm.
Are there any questions that you may have before you prepare?
Do I get bonus points if I'm the only one to live?
There is no points, you fool. You either live and you become a freeman, or you die and we bury you with honor.
I see.
And if anybody believes that you can try and fake your way out of this, we will have huntsmen by the tree to witness your carving of your name in the branches high above. But
Yes,
they
sir.
will not come to your aid, as you would have seen from last year. They are there to witness only, with strict rules not to engage, even if you are attacked, for that is your role to survive. If there's no other questions, we should call end to the service. The three of you may get together and discuss this and prepare. Though what you can prepare I do not know, for you just have your cloth and your dagger. And the torch that you shall grab in the morning. For that is the first test of the fire. Oh, about the fire, you must take the fire all the way to the tree and bring it all the way back. So there must be a lit fire in your hand when you return.
Does it need to be the same fire?
Well, no, because that would have burnt out.
What if I set the whole forest on fire?
At this time of year, good luck
Then
with
there
that.
won't be anywhere to carve your name.
Well, so basically, Norburg is nestled into the evergreen forest, which then surrounds Lake Eru, and that's what you saw on the intro, and you'd have seen on the picture for the village. Lake Eru is a vast lake, beautiful, plentiful fish, lovely still waters. The rivers that run into it are always clean of water, purifying your soul. So basically, the waters are very well revered. The woods themselves are vast and deep. I mean, as fast as you knock down the trees, other trees grow, so it sustains itself well. In fact, there's parts of the forest so deep and so dark that even the villagers don't go. But there are many well-trodden paths that you take to north and south, east and west, so no one ever really worries about that. You have to travel through the woods, out into the wastes. You'll get to the watchtower. The watchtowers basically line where the ground turns from grass and earth to snow and ice. That's where they stand, ever watchful for creatures from the north. If they ever see a creature descending, they each have a tower horn that they bellow out, so that other towers in the area might be able to bring aid, and the villagers themselves can bear arms and travel north to intercept. And so it is that every time there's been any sort of incursions from the north into your territory, that you're quickly able to rouse the men. You know exactly where they're attacking by the tone. Each tower has its own horn. Very easy to distinguish which tower it's coming from. And basically, yeah, so that's your defense. And you have to specifically go to the Tower of Hamdol, which is the one that's run by your village. So each tower is also run by a different village, and it tends to have some of the principles and the cultures of that village in it. So each one's quite different. Though you're all part of the Norrenholm Alliance, basically, where all the villages help to protect each other against the North. So that is pretty much all the background you need to know. Over to you. The three of you stand in the dimming fire. The crowds have parted and left for the night. Steiner approaches. Sister, you did not have to do this. There is nothing here for you to prove. Gaetan, I wish you well. You are a brave warrior. He holds out his hand, warrior handshake style. He
Yes,
kind
I
of
can.
bats his eyelid at Alith and then turns back to Freya. Freya! There is no need for you to do this. It's almost an embarrassment on the family. Stad has already told you he would offer you his hand in marriage. Why? Why do you do this? Why you do this?
So you get all the fun and I don't get a chance to have an adventure. If I've got to marry, I've got to at least have the fun first.
You think violence is fun? You think defending the realm is a pleasure? It's an honor. It's a duty. It's what we have to do. It's what I have to do.
And I have to do this, so back off and let me do it.
But when I am Jarl, you will be my sister. If you marry Stad, then our families will be even stronger together.
Great. So you marry Stad and I do the fun part.
What the hell are you talking about, woman? Man marrying man? The Yagamama herself would come down and smite me for such disgusting thoughts.
I agree. Yagamam is very scary.
She is. And Gaetan, I've heard good things of you. You're a brave warrior. I hope you succeed and you join the ranks of the freeman. I'll have you by my side in battles in the future.
Will tell. Time will tell.
Your modesty, it does you well. And Alith, it is required of me to wish you well.
Yes, everyone thinks I am dead. Do not worry.
I wish you well. And
I'm ready to disappoint everyone when I come back.
well, that's as maybe, but right now you have as much chance as Gaetan and Freya, technically, to succeed. Good luck. Goodbye. Freya, live, please. For I still love you as a sister. He walks off.
Well, he's a bit emotional, isn't he?
Bye, sis. The three of you look at each other awkwardly.
Well, anyone ready to get a head start?
I believe we have to wait till the morning, do we not?
6 for the week. You are strong.
You've got a stickler for the rules.
Are we allowed to get a head start?
No, you're not.
Oh.
No, you're not. The villagers will be lining the village to see you out, almost like Olympic torch style.
There's us two going and then Alice just like running ahead.
Yeah. Where is Alice? He comes back. Hey, can't be naming it. What was this all about? 3 days. Why give it 3 days? I don't understand this 3-day
There's
thing.
a tree right there, I could just use that one.
I mean, it's true. Why have I got to drive 3 days? Travel 3 days to carve my name into a tree. But them's the rules. You must follow them. Tradition.
So would I know much about them other than their name? Would I know anything else about
You
it?
know of me, but
No. You all
Oh,
come from
okay.
completely different social circles. So, Gaetan, even though your name is quite well known because of your brave deeds, that was a few years ago now, and you have been even though you've been training with the hunters, you've even had some training with Gudbrand, who's like the master trainer of the warriors. However, he's not allowed to fully train you because that would be illegal. But you've kind of snuck in on and become very friendly with Bo and Haror and Thora the huntress.
it looks like a good idea, Harry. I'm gonna go eat yogurt.
And so basically, you've kind of wormed your way into the Freeman's inner circles, so kind of like coming in through the back door. Oh, look, it's that quaint guy, Gaetan, who, defeated those wolves 3 years ago. Keeps talking about it. No, they don't say that. I mean, you don't really speak about it, they do. But you have been basically scouring them for knowledge. But you go out every day, you go out, you work, you toil the fields, you work the woods, you do whatever it takes to feed the village and to support the village. In your heart, you want more? Of course you do. You want more than this. In fact, every time you go out there, you do sometimes start wandering into the woods and just think, what would happen if I kept walking? What would happen? But then you think of your mother, you think of your duty, and your mother has just bore it into you time and time again, the importance of your role and how you need to basically support you need to support all of the villagers. So going off and doing your own thing just is not honourable. And it keeps getting born into you. And your mother Astrid has, her social status has risen quite a bit since you defended the other women folk. However, Astrid is, she is very much of the common fold. She sits in a mud hut day and night. She's either making clothes for people, or she's out toiling the fields. She doesn't know how to rest. And you respect her massively, you really do. You don't. Sorry.
That's fine. And in this room, is it just us three? It's just us three now in the
yes, yeah.
room.
There are others in the peripheries having small conversations, but you're not overhearing each other at all. Yeah, that's it. And Aleph basically just has always kept to himself. So Freya's always been in the noble houses, travelling with her father, talking to the other senior soldiers, and it's like cute Freya, she's gonna be a princess one day. Gaetan, the common hero, and Aleph has basically just been behind closed doors with books, secreting himself out into the woods at night. Basically keeping off the radar of everybody. So
into the woods at night, he might know the route.
Aleph knows everything.
Help.
I'll go over to Aleph and offer a hand. Nice to meet you.
Greetings. I hear you are the strong one.
So they say.
Well, we'll find out. I'm sure.
Yes, in time. What are your skills that might help with this?
Well, I'm good at making fire, which I hear is quite handy when half of the trial is fire, turned out.
It would be useful to know that we've always got a torch. That was one of the requirements.
Yes, well.
I mean, you haven't quite worked out how you're going to do that yet, Gaetan, because you've got nothing to make a fire with, so you're going to have to constantly be whittling wood and preparing wood and keeping it alight while you have this baton that you're going to take from the fire. It's going to be difficult, really, really difficult. You can see why people sometimes fail just by letting the light go out. And as soon as it's gone, they've got no way of starting another fire.
Well, fire comes from a magnificent place, I'm sure.
The rule was you have to return with the fire, so you don't have to have the fire the entire time.
No, but I mean, most people don't have any other source of fire. Some people you've heard have. Well, no, you haven't heard anything because you've never heard about the trial. And no one ever talks about it. And you haven't asked any other questions, so that's all you know at the moment. This is what you can guess and what has been said to you tonight around the campfire.
Well, I'm sure we should go get some rest for this very tiring journey we have coming on.
It's very good. Wise to work out what our skills are, though, to work together.
I'm gonna grab another snack and then I might head off to bed.
Gaetan stands there looking to discuss strategies and ideas. Aleph and Freya just kind of shrug and head to bed.
We can discuss it in the morning. I'm sure it'll be fine.
You notice that both Freya and Aleph seem to have some sort of confidence in some sort of skills that you don't seem to understand. You're not sure what it is, but there's a twinkle in their eyes when they talk about certain things, as if they somehow have skills or powers that they don't talk about. But that wouldn't be real, would it?
Well,
I can't imagine.
see you in the morning.
Yes.
By the way,
Well.
people don't really see magic much in the village. Some people some people do know a few like little prestidigitation trickster things. That
So me admitting I'm a sorcerer in front of the entire village on top of a bonfire wasn't a good idea then.
they thought you were
He's a
joking.
witch!
Yeah, they were just assuming you were joking, basically.
Lynch him!
Oh, they assume. Okay, that's fine. I don't mind that.
Yeah, you might get chased out of the village as a demon if they find out you're a sorcerer.
I see what you did there.
See what you did there. Yeah. Okay. Gaetan stands there, ready for more conversation. As Freya and Alith bugger off to bed. Night. Gaetan, there's still many of the famous folk of Norburg are in small groups, far away from you, giving you the respect of distance, discussing various things.
All the other people that are there are the noble people now. They're not. There's none of the people that I would have lived with or anything. No common folk.
No, I mean you can still see good Brand talking to Jarl, but you're not sure if you should interrupt that. Bjorn, the massive bear of a man, who's like the main village cook for banquets and stuff. He's clearing up some tables with his family. They'd put on. So you just came out for this bit by the fire, but the actual rest of the people have been here for quite a while. They'd had a feast. You didn't get any of that because you're not really a freeman yet. You just basically come in towards the end when they had a few too many to drink and eat, and kind of like, oh yeah, and here's the kids who are going off to the slaughter tomorrow. Hey! Now they're just kind of like wound down. The main meeting's finished. A few of them have kind of gone off into little groups, having little group chats. Post-dinner conversations. And your other two compatriots have, gone to bed. They don't seem particularly fussed about the whole thing. Whereas you're sitting there quite nervous.
Yeah, I'll just sit there twiddling my thumbs for a little bit and just look around.
You're just worried that you're a one-hit wonder.
Should probably
Yeah, that does worry you.
rest myself.
When you're a child star.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, do 15 minutes of fame and then you just...
you took out that
Yeah.
wolf. But was it luck? You never really had a chance to test it. You've walked into the woods sometimes and thought, I could do with something attacking me right now just to prove my worth. But there isn't anything. The lands are quite safe around you. And now since that happened, so one thing I have mentioned it at some point, I think in a text, but since that time, hunters now go out with the farmers into the woods. The woodsmen go out with their axes. They tend to be quite confident to look after themselves. But the farmers, when they go out and toil the lands, they tend to have a guard with them, at least one that can basically scare off the foxes. There's polar foxes that are normally quite harmless, but they can be a little bit vicious. The wolves are the real pain, and of course the great hunters of the realm, the polar bears or the white bears. If you ever see them, you just basically steer clear. They're lethal. They'll eat you for dinner, basically.
You said I was training with some of the hunters and the huntress. Are any of them there? They're on like friendly terms with me enough to talk to me briefly, are they?
Haror's there, talking with Bo and Thora.
So I'll go over to them.
Okay.
And I'll just I'm gonna go to bed soon, but
And I heard
Whatever.
when I heard the call, it was chilling to the blood. I tell you, this is a mistake. Ah! Gaetan!
evening.
Are you ready?
Well,
Boy,
as I ever will be, I think.
this is Haror the Hunter. Haror!
And I'll do like the same handshake that the other guy came to each of them.
No, they'll bring it in. So does the Huntress Thora. Brings it in. There's nothing much we can say, but we're all rooting for you, boy.
I'm gonna go and get some well-needed rest very soon.
Okay.
But just whatever happens, please watch out for my mother. Should I not return for any reason?
Honourable. We will. She'll be well looked after. Don't you worry, boy.
Thank you.
And may you come back a man.
I'll like, dip my head to them a bit, and I'll head off and go to bed as well.
Okay. Okay. Next morning arises. Guys, you have an opportunity here, spellcasters. If you want to have a little fiddly widdly with your spells, now that you know the measure of the task, obviously you're going to be fairly reliant on your skills, your confidence, and your spells. So, spells. So if there's anything you want to adjust, now's the time.
I really know magic tricks.
Yeah, so that's just something that's in your mind when you're going to bed for your rest, sleep, meditation. I think you sleep actually as a half-elf, don't you?
Before I go to bed, I'm going to open up my large book that I have stored under my bed. I'm going to slit my finger. And I'm going to start writing in blood. This is the beginning.
You hear the whispers of your lord in your ears as you're doing it.
I will do it, my lord.
Your time will come, my son. Yes. Okay, the morning comes.
Your father was Voldemort.
Harry Potter. Give me your wand, Harry Potter. No, we're not going to do that. Right, okay. You meet down in the morning with a fire. I mean, there's not much preparing you can do. Knife, white outfit, which offers no protection. So at the moment, you're not wearing any armor. So when we talk about your AC, you're going to have to obviously adjust for that. Even though in your character sheets you might have some form of armor. Not a problem for Gaetan. He'll go. In fact, Gaetan probably comes down and is like half opened up with his hairy chest, just basically bared out, like a real man. He'll cook up a beard's chest. You know, several of the ladies in the town, just taking note as you walk past. You've noticed that Freya hasn't looked at you in the same way that women normally do. That's a bit annoying. You're probably going to have to work on her a little bit. Aleph, I tell you what, Aleph is a looker as well. The three of you are ridiculously good looking. In fact, most of the village are basically battle worn, scars, a little bit gnarly. And the three of you look, you've just walked off of some K-pop band. Surprised you haven't got like little quaffy hair going over. What's up, y'all? What's up, my bitches?
We're the only ones from the village that have all of our teeth.
Yeah, your teeth look great. I don't know what your dental plan is, but it's working well. Your hair is fine, conditioned. All three of you have good skin, excellent body tone. Freya and Gaetan, especially, you are absolutely ripped. Arms, chest, stomach, legs, just basically bulging muscles. Aleph has more of a slight, lithe body.
I got muscles where it's important.
Yeah, he's got a slightly more kind of mysterious look about him. More like your sort of your druggy, your skinny druggy mate who keeps himself sort of fit, but he never looks quite healthy enough.
Same me in real life.
Yeah, but he's definitely he looks really good looking. In fact, almost feminine. His looks are so angular. You could almost mistake him to be half elven. But who would say that?
You would be a half elf in this place.
Who'd be a half elf in this place? He does have a very angular face. Nowhere near the same sort of breadth of shoulders and chest as Gaetan, or even Freya. Long blonde hair, yeah. I mean, basically like your.
Certain features. I don't know what. I don't know why we're covering up, but.
Yeah, he has the hair kind of down over his ears.
I don't know why.
Who knew? He's a half elf. I mean, you have a lot of half-race breeds here, but slowly over time, most of them kind of breed out a lot of those traits as the more human traits tend to be more popular. But anyway, yeah, Butterfire. Hydron is standing there holding a stick. Right, we are ready. It is the morning of the first day of the trial of fire and ice. Looks around at the crowd. Basically, the crowds have all lined up. You've seen this every year, but you never know what they do. They basically take a log, effectively, from the fire, and they run. And then eventually they either come back or they don't. That's all any of you have ever really seen. So basically, this is a bit you do know. You have to put your hand into the fire as fast as you can, grab a lit piece of wood, hopefully as long as you can get it without burning yourself, basically. So I need a perception check, a survival check, and then a dexterity save to see whether you can get your hand in and out before you burn.
I'm gonna burn.
Do we all need to take it, or just one of us take it?
All three of you have to complete the test individually. The only thing that's unusual this year is you're going to be allowed to travel together because of the risks, the extra risks that there are this year. So normally,
the first one is what? Sorry,
perception.
I'm surprised it's not sleight of hand or anything.
You could use sleight of hand.
I don't have sleight of hand, so please no. I have a +0 on that. I'm just saying.
I use sleight of hand instead of perception?
No.
Oh.
No. You can use sleight of hand instead of your dex.
Right, so first roll is perception.
Yep.
I got a 6.
Okay.
16 for perception.
So far I have rolled nothing more than a 7.
Okay, Freya, if you want to roll your first d20.
But what's my plus?
Your perception.
It's your, it will be on the big list on the left.
+4 for you, Freya.
Oh, okay.
No, that's Alith. Sorry.
Can't see perception.
+0 for you, Freya.
I still only got 6.
Alith gets +4. You get +0. So it's just a straight d20 on the perception. You're not very perceptive.
Welcome to the club, darling.
Why, thank you.
What did you get?
Right, then it's what?
Oh,
Deck.
Okay. Gaetan, you straight away see the perfect log that will last you a good amount of time. Your knowledge, your woodcraft knowledge, everything has allowed you to spot what you're going to go for now. Now make a survival check to see whether you're going to get in there and get to it through the best angle of approach.
Not 14.
Oh, that's not it.
It's survival, Charlotte. It's right at the bottom of the long list.
In all the skills.
Oh, yeah, that's you.
15.
Again, you've Gaetan, you work out the perfect route to that piece of wood.
What about older
Alith, yeah, you've chosen one. It's not anywhere near as great. It won't last anywhere near as long, but you have worked out a really good route to it. What did you get? Basically, while you're doing this, by the way, you are being appraised. Everyone's watching you, especially Hydron. They're basically just being seen to see how you approach this, even the simple task. We're getting a d20 roll any second now. +2, 10. Okay. Freya, yeah, you can't quite work out how you're going to get it there. So you're going to have to just basically go balls deep and just go for it. So you can now use either just a dex save, or you can use acrobatics, or sleight of hand, whichever one is best for you to use.
Oh, +0, +0, or +0.
Yeah, so if you use Freya, it would be +3, or your dex save is +5.
Oh, 19.
Damn, boy.
Man, like,
Well, Dex
You got
save
15?
is +5.
Okay, so Gaetan, you are textbook the whole way through. You find the perfect log, you find the perfect approach, and you get it in and out without any damage whatsoever. Everyone's like, "Oh, Gaetan, Gaetan!" Alith, what did you get? 19. Okay, the one you choose looks thick, but it's actually a really thin piece. But you find a really good route, and you're so fast taking that piece of wood out. Everyone's like, Alith, yeah! Freya, what did you get?
Am I allowed as many deck saves as I want?
No, you only roll it once.
Okay, then I'll take the other one. No, I meant more like throughout the game.
Well, throughout the game, whatever you need to roll is
Basically,
whatever I tell you
just
to
pick
roll.
whatever out of all of them. Just pick whichever one's highest.
Yeah, because basically, you can utilize your
Got 19
training.
too, she's also.
Oh, insane. Okay. Yeah, basically, you're in and out. In fact, not many people notice as such, but Alith and Freya are even quicker at getting the log in and out than Gaetan. Gaetan just basically was highly competent the whole way through, whereas the two of you were like, who cares about a bit of wood? But here's a good approach, and look how damn good I am. So yes, you now hold aloft. Two of you, Freya and Alith, hold aloft these sort of thin, slightly beaten bits of wood that probably are only going to last you a couple of hours. Gaetan holds aloft this almost trunk-like branch that's going to last him many, many, many hours of burning. It's dry. I mean, one of yours has got a bit of wet still on it, so it's going to fizzle out if you're not careful. In fact, that's Alith's. Alith has got a bit of damp in it. He said the worst. Right. And you are, and then there's the horn. The horn is called, and yeah, hold on. My thing is something like that. Something like that indeed. Or maybe not. The horn is called, and you are set to run, and you run. Run! Run! They all start chanting. Run!
Run.
And you start running.
We're running, and Alith is just like, I'll get there.
It's about finding a pace that you are comfortable with, not running.
Okay. You all set off at a bit of a healthy pace to start with. Make an athletics check. Just to basically see how much of a good pace you set off at.
10. Pretty average.
Now you're minus.
Oh, keep doing slash.
You're -1, aren't you, Alith?
I am.
Yep. So
17.
Alith sets off at a steady pace. It doesn't look particularly gainly, but it's competent. What did you get? What did you get, Gaetan?
17.
17. Again, Gaetan just basically nails it. As soon as the horn goes, he's just dust. He starts running off. In fact, he gets slightly out of the village and has to sort of slow his pace down to let Alith catch up. Freya.
Someone's trying to impress.
Sorry?
13.
13. Yeah, you set off at a steady pace. Basically, you've taken the most efficient pace that you think you need to weather the distance. The three of you sort of set off at different speeds, but very quickly get into step together. Gaetan naturally takes the lead. His pace is just so confident and strong. So the two of you tend to fall back very, very slightly. Gaetan chooses his path. Now you need to go north. So Gaetan, Freya, and Alith, are you all going to try and work your own way out for going north, or are you going to rely on Gaetan's skill?
I think I will go by my own knowledge on this one.
Okay, make a survival check. You're +2, Freya.
Getting some really mediocre rolls.
Just getting them out of the way. That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Saving the good ones for combat.
Yes. There's not going to be any combat. What are you talking about? This is just a test of endurance.
I went on my instinct.
Yeah. Don't follow me,
Don't follow
guys.
Harry. Gaetan's gonna die.
Gaetan, what did you get?
It was Harry.
5.
5. Okay, you get to a crossroads. Gaetan starts running straight over. Freya, what did you get?
I got 10.
10. It's not quite enough. Alith?
11.
11. Spot on. Right, Alith, you're like, we should be going left now. Freya sort of slows down. She gets, you've worked out this isn't right. You don't think he's going in the right way, but you're not quite sure which is the right way for some reason. Alith is like, it's left. It's left. Do you say anything?
So, someone on the other side is telling me where to go. Don't worry.
Gaetan, you suddenly realise that. Actually, make a perception check. Do you notice, or do you just carry on? Man, I'm nailing this. Gaetan for the win.
Nah,
14.
14.
Oh, wait, why did... Yeah, 14.
Okay, you look round. Come on, guys. You know,
Where are you going? What?
they've turned left and started jogging down the left path.
Gaetan, follow us.
Yeah, I'll just sigh and be like, oh, I've got to stay with them, so I'll just run after them.
Told us to stay together.
Make an intelligence roll. Do you intelligence save, basically?
Everyone?
No, just you, Gaetan.
Just, okay.
Yeah.
We're wrong or not.
Yeah. Are you going to embarrass yourself on the first hurdle?
9.
Oh my god, mate! You're not
You
sure.
got a good start.
I think it's this way, guys.
Okay, Freya, make an intelligence roll. Alith, you know you're going the right way. Do you persuade him, or do you just carry on running? You're still inside the village, by the way. You're not that far. I mean, they're watching you in the distance. Yeah.
She got 15, by the way.
15. Right. Yeah. Sorry, my Discord thing just keeps disappearing. Yeah. Freya, 100%. Alith's right. Gaetan's wrong.
You might find out a lot this journey.
You might want to try and convince him.
Knowledge is power.
Do you try and persuade him, or do you just leave him? Because at the moment, Gaetan's 100%.
Gaetan, you strange beast.
I think we should persuade him.
Okay, make persuasion rolls. It's a lot of rolls in one pace when there's no combat, but hey, we're just flexing our skills here at the start. 25. Alith, I want to hear this.
Gaetan, do not let your muscles guide the way, okay? Let the brains.
Yeah, that was
2 against 1. I mean, if you both want to go that way, we've got to stay together. I'm not going to run off on my own.
Okay, Gaetan, that was quite. It didn't sound like it, but actually, it was quite persuading. Alith's got a point. You're not as intelligent as him. You know that you're just a commoner, and he's a nobleman.
You may have defeated the wolves once, but we don't know how we're going to tackle
Your true hidden lack of confidence starts kicking in, and you're like, "Am I going the right way?" And by the end of the sentence from Alith, you're like, "Man, I'm wrong. I'm already wrong. I failed already."
We will not tell the others this. This is
They can
ours.
see. They're just there.
Hello, boys.
It's fine. We stick together. Thank you for guiding me the right path. I would have been off to a bad start if these new rules were not in place.
I'm sure you would have found your way eventually.
Now, come on now. You are leading the pace. Let's go.
They wait for you to lead off again, and your strong legs start pounding the ground, and you head off, this time in the right direction. And it doesn't take long for you run. So if you see from the view here, there's a path leading parallel to the lake to start with, and you run along that, and you can see the shimmering reflections of the trees on the water as you run down towards the mountains. And now that you're on this path, Gaetan, you start to question, how did you not know this was the right route? Because there's the mountain right in front of you. And it's fairly obvious that you just need to head towards that mountain, and that's roughly north. Because you know that it looks quite close, but that mountain is massive and it is very far away. and there's a lot of ground between you and that mountain, and you won't be going anywhere near it for this trial. You just need to get as far as the gate post, which is 2 days of running away. In fact, you might start walking after a while. You don't have to keep running the whole way, but see how it goes. And also, you've got water. Now, at the moment, you've got no water and no food. And these things are important. You kind of need to drink water. So one of the things that happens in D&D is that you get exhausted. And exhaustion starts to have an effect on you. And if you lose all of your exhaustion points, well, something quite sad happens. Yeah, you die. You die. So you probably don't want to die.
The lake that we're here, is it fresh water or is it?
It's not fresh water, no, but there's many streams. In fact, you're passing one now. Streams of fresh water.
We should probably.
You stop for a second. The others catch up with you. He stopped already by a stream.
Well, should we? Is there any fish in this stream?
You
Always get some grub. I don't mind eating.
You did say our dagger's really good for fish.
Yeah. I mean, in dagger form, they're quite difficult to use for fishing. If only you had a spear or something.
Yeah, I can make one bit.
I don't think we'll need spears.
Harry's hoping for a natural D20.
Oh.
Fish.
Yep.
Where around the stream is there anything like any big leaved plants that we could try and make something that would hold water out of the leaves, or?
Yeah. Make a survival check.
I'm going to go wander downstream, just to clear my head.
Okay. You can still see the village, by the way. You've barely warmed up.
I'm going to go away from the village. Go clear my head.
Got 18.
Okay. Yes, you find some excellent broadleafs. You scoop up the water in it, and you can take a good long drink. However, you're not that thirsty at the moment, but it felt good to drink it. Do you want to offer it out to anybody else?
Yeah, I'll offer it out. We should drink every chance we get until we can find something. And I'll offer it to...
Thank you.
Freya takes a deep gulp of the fresh water. It's beautifully fresh, especially so when drunk from a thick-leafed, broadleaf plant like this. It just feels wholesome. Alice disappeared downstream. What are you doing, Alice?
No one's watching me.
No one's watching you.
Is there any fish in the water?
Yeah, there's loads.
I'm going to Eldritch Blast one of them.
Okay. Make perception rolls, you two.
No, I'm far enough away.
Oh, they can't see you.
What have I got to do?
You got to make a perception roll.
Perception. Okay.
Yeah.
10.
No, that's good.
2.
Seeing your friendly...
I have great perception.
Okay, Gaetan. You hear a strange noise in the background. It's coming from roughly in the direction of the woods. It was gone in an instant. Freya, you didn't notice it.
Do I know that he has run that way?
You do, yes.
I think...
He comes back with a fish in his hand, completely cooked. Oh no, not cooked. Completely
I was going to say that is
shattered.
very suspicious.
It wasn't a fire spell.
Completely what?
It's
How are you
shattered.
hungry
It's all
already?
disrupted
Did you
and
not have
split.
breakfast?
Yeah, okay.
I hunted it with my dagger, see?
The wounds don't look like dagger wounds.
Come handy later on.
It basically looks like the fish has just ruptured in multiple places.
Well, I picked it up with the dagger and then I threw it against a rock. And now it's dead. So I'm going to go eat now.
Persuasion roll again. We're not getting very far here, but it doesn't matter.
Just,
You're establishing some norms.
did we eat any breakfast before we left?
I
Yeah,
did.
you're not hungry. You're not thirsty.
No, first he was fine, but just make
Oh,
sure.
yeah, bro, it's only me I have to persuade.
Yeah.
Oh, 19.
Breakfast wasn't enough, huh? Okay.
Yes, I threw it against this rock and it's very obvious that if you clearly say otherwise, you are a dumbass.
Make intelligence rolls quickly, then we need to get on.
Me?
Yeah, both of you.
Beat a 19.
No.
Yeah, too well.
Yeah, that definitely looks like a rock wound on a fish.
Actually, Freya, can you also make an Arcana roll?
Yeah.
That's +1.
1,
17, 17, alright.
Yeah, he's bullshitting and he's used a spell. You're not going to. You probably don't want to say anything because.
Not to say anything.
Well, if you show off that you've got Arcana knowledge, that kind of puts you in the shitter as well.
Definitely a rock wound. Let's go now.
Yeah, totally.
I can put this on my stick.
Yep. Everyone's convinced he smashed it against the rock. Moving on. Okay, you make your way. I need to get the crowd noise off. Hold on. I just realised.
Well,
I now have one
very
cooked fish.
the leaf cup thing I made, will that be durable enough to come with us?
Yeah. You probably get a couple
Oh
of
yeah, I
uses out
also
of
had a drink whilst slaying fish with rocks.
it. Wonderful. You start running on. After about an hour or so, you start to get a little bit tired. Make a stamina roll, a constitution check.
It's just Constitution, Charlotte.
Yeah, it's just basically saving throw mod con. So for you, it's +3.
Ooh.
No, I got it.
I don't get any plus.
Keep looking.
16.
13.
Alice?
Sorry, 15.
Okay, you're all good. In fact, the woods is quite deep here, but you managed to get through it quite easily. A couple more hours go by. Again, do you continue to try and run, or are you going to slow the pace a bit?
Might as well continue.
Well, I'm just a merry little jog anyway.
Okay. After a couple of hours, another con roll. These are important, by the way, otherwise you start getting exhausted. It's just seeing how fit you are.
Oh.
Everyone but Freya, looking good.
Sorry, guys.
Okay,
No.
Freya,
Fire.
after 3 hours of continuous running, you stumble, and you suddenly catch yourself off step, and you just come to a halt. Take an exhaustion point.
We
Okay,
see this. Just
you're
level
now-
with us.
Yeah, you're now disadvantaged on all ability checks.
We should slow the pace.
Does that mean that I have to, whatever it is, I just do one less?
No, you have to roll.
whenever you roll for like save or like anything like that, you need to roll twice and you take the worst one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So also you're starting to get a little thirsty again. In fact, you're getting quite thirsty.
We should slow the pace.
Yeah. So are you going to start running again, or are you going to try and walk for a bit?
I'd like to walk for a bit if that's okay.
Well, I guess we can't split up now, can we?
Okay.
We keep the pace of the slowest.
You switch to a walk. After about an hour, you're both very, all three of you are very, very thirsty. Make perception checks. You're now way past the lake, deep into the woods now, heading towards the mountain. It's actually quite hard to see the mountain from where you are.
I got 10.
8.
17.
Okay, Gaetan, you spot a partially covered stream about 50 yards off to your right. It's tiny, but you just catch a glimpse of the movement of the water. It's basically running mostly underground. It just peaks up a little bit, but you're able to get over to it, get some water out, and drink some. You going to hand it round, or are you going to make them do it themselves?
No, I'll tell them to sit down and rest, and I'll go over and I'll collect the thing for and bring it to them.
Okay, so you've made some good time so far by running. So one of the things you could do is potentially stop for an hour and take a break and eat some food and some drink. If you do that, you can get your exhaustion point back.
Oh, we've got the fish.
You do, and you can eat that raw.
My fire
Sure,
still
he
there.
ate that
Yeah,
already.
you've still got your fires.
Well, even mine, the damp little piece of wood.
Oh no, that's gone. Yeah, good point. Yeah, his has gone out. He doesn't seem that bothered.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had a campfire, that would be brilliant right now.
I wish we had a campfire. Why don't you two go and find some firewood and maybe I'll sit here and enjoy the view? And start building, of course. Yeah.
Do you guys want to go and get some firewood and while he starts building the fire?
How can you build the fire without
We
the
tell-
oil?
Well,
you can tell that Freya's exhausted or like really quite tired.
Yeah, Freya does feel a bit exhausted. Gaetan, you're full of energy. You'd love to go off and get some wood. Show
You
us your
guys-
skills.
Go on now.
You guys rest. I'll go get some firewood. So I'm used to it.
Okay,
No.
Gaetan runs off. Alith, you look a bit awkwardly at Freya. Freya looks a bit awkwardly at you.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you going to do it?
It's cool weather.
Come on then. I thought you were going to prepare our fire.
Yes, let me get some stones. I go collect some stones. Put them down. Make a nice circle.
Okay.
Well, I guess now that's all my job done. Let's wait for the firewood, huh?
That's seriously what you thought you could do whilst you let Gaetan go and get all the other stuff.
Well, what else am I meant to do? I have no wood. I have no fire.
You announced to the entire clan that you're a sorcerer. I thought you maybe do something with that.
Well, that was just a...
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, who knows?
Hold on.
I just enjoy fire. Sometimes I like to play with it, and that makes me believe that I am indeed a sorcerer. What is a sorcerer, you may ask? That is not the question, but they are definitely not demon worshippers. I tell you that now.
As the common folk would say, it sounds like you're talking out of your arse.
Well, that's what you do when you stare at books for so many years. The words just come out,
It
and
appears
you do
this,
not know how to stop them.
it appears that man that occasionally talks over our battles has disappeared.
Well, hello.
Our narrator has left.
Our narrator has left.
When will he come back with that firewood? It's been so long.
Oh no, the narrator has turned.
Hello. Yes, Gaetan returns with the fire. He's got loads of wood. He basically managed to scavenge loads of dry brushwood from the that's fallen from the trees, and a few that he's basically cut up already using his knife. He clearly knows his wood. There's no doubt about it. So far, Gaetan, apart from his directional skills, has shown some incredible skills. He lays all the wood down.
And his intelligence, by the sound of it.
You all look at each other. Who's going to do the fire?
Well, I mean, my fire's gone, so I can't do much, can I?
Is my fire still lit?
Oh yeah, yours is the
Yeah,
only one
I'll
that's
just-
still lit.
Well, I don't
I'll just
mind
use
letting
that.
you use mine.
I'll just chuck that one in because I can always do a new one.
That's the spirit. Now, who wants
Okay.
some fish?
Yeah, there's so much fuel still in this piece of wood that you build a fire around it, and it just whooshes into life. Thankfully, it's still only just past summer here, and it's just starting to get a little bit chilly as the autumn days are starting to set in. This is why you do this tend to do this at the end of summer. It's not too hot, but winter hasn't started to encroach too far yet. Otherwise, it would be ridiculously hard to achieve this trial. The fire goes, you rest up, you cook up the fish. It tastes all right, actually, pretty good fish. Well done, Alith. Well done, Gaetan. Well done, Freya. And you rest for an hour. You get your exhaustion point back.
Yes.
Thank God.
This tastes magical.
Are you gonna head off, quash the fire, have no fire? Are you gonna try and find some more new battens to take with you?
Sure, we need to take it with us, otherwise, how else are we going to find a fire?
Yes, I mean, there's definitely no way in real life you can actually make fire without fire, right? Oh wait, there is. It's called flint and steel. Fantastic.
But
Who wants to go mining?
We have 2 days to get to a mountain, and you want to find flint and steel.
Let's go caving.
I'll go off and I'll just see if I can find 3 new potential logs or twigs, whatever,
Yeah.
that would be suitable.
Using your rolls from earlier as a basis, you're able to quite easily find 3 chunky. I mean, you're not having to try and do it under pressure with a fire this time, so you can quite easily take 20 on it and just basically pick up 3 impressive lumps that are still wieldable, and at the same time, got enough fuel in them to last.
One that is small enough for me. I am not that very strong.
You just get 3 of the same sort of size. You don't want it to be seen to be unequal.
I'll just bring them and I'll let them pick which ones they want first.
He holds out 3 logs. Each one's of a different size: a small, a medium, and a large. They're all very similar. Who picks what?
I'll take the small one. After all.
Hey, Alice, you pick first.
Yeah. Great things come in small packages, as they say.
I mean, you're not that small, Alice.
Compared to us, he is.
I mean, yeah, compared to you alpha humans.
I'll take the medium. I don't wish to overexert myself and go into exhaustion again.
Oh, actually, while you're taking a moment by the fire, why don't you just give each other a little description of your looks? Now, obviously, your clothes are the same at the moment. How tall are you?
Just left our mental institution with our white coat.
Yeah, you basically look like some sort of cultists. Just don't get blood on your white outfit. That's going to look really weird.
Yes, I haven't already done that.
So, Alice, starting with you, just a little, sentence on your looks.
Well, I am very tall. I'm actually the tallest you can be, whatever that is, 6 foot, I think. 6'5". I don't know what the tallest you can be, but I'm the tallest.
Very, very, very lanky.
I'm very lanky. I'm like, Slender Man, but with long, luscious locks. And I've got like, when you're really skinny, but like you're still kind of ripped because you're just really low body fat. Well, that's me. I've got like abs and I've got like good muscle definition, but I have no muscle. I've got beautiful
gym
yellowish eyes.
He's a teenager.
Yeah, he's a teenager.
And I've got an almost like weird evil look to my eye all the time. I kind of twitch my eye quite often. And I, when I wasn't wearing this weird white robe, I wear very long black clothes, very like long coats and very lush, but dark clothing.
I get it. Freya?
Oh, I like gold.
Bling bling, yo.
I like to burn it too. I like burning things. Fire.
Very nice.
Yeah, he has a big smile on his face as he's burning that fish. You can almost imagine him going, "No, please stop! Don't burn me!" Burn the fish. Freya.
God, fish.
I have very blue eyes. Actually, from my mother. Although I never really met her, I've been told I have her eyes.
She died in childbirth.
I know. I have very light skin, but it's got a slight tan from being outside. Mostly from avoiding my father. But I have his hair. Well, at least what he had in his prime, which is raven black. He, however, now just has completely silver and slightly balding.
Yeah. Gaetan?
So he's 6 foot. I think
I
it was
thought we were all 6 foot.
215 pounds or so, I think it was that I put in. He's got brown hair, shoulder length, and he's got sort of the sides here and here are braided and they just go back and it just falls on his shoulders.
Nice.
He has a scar going from his eye to his ear. It's like a scratch. So it's in 3 lines.
It was a hairdressing incident.
Yeah.
I was assuming from the wall.
Oh yeah, it was from the balls. But it's just been there forever and he's just used to it now. Sort of healed over and just scarred now. He has very light green eyes and sort of a light tan. I guess he's out quite a lot, so he's in the sun a lot.
That'd be weathered skin then.
Yeah.
Slightly pinched, weathered skin.
Yeah.
A man of the world. Okay, yeah, you get to know each other a little bit. You notice Aleth is incredibly cagey. Freya keeps giving him knowing looks. There's a bit of weird signalling going on. You're all incredibly tall, but then again, most of the freemen are quite large. You've heard of these softy southerners who are like in their 5 foot or something, but if you got a 5 at the beginning of it, you're weak. You guys are all incredible specimens. I mean, Aleth is actually the tallest out of all of you, but he looks even tall.
We all said 6 foot, and he's like, no, but I'm 6 foot, the big kind.
Yeah, I'm 6'5", but he basically.
You guys are 5'11" and a half. I'm 6 foot.
He basically looks like he's 7 foot tall compared to you, because you guys are about 6 foot tall and about 4 foot wide, 5 foot wide, and he's about 6.5 foot tall and about 1 foot wide, and so he basically. Yeah, he is like Slender Man a little bit. Not quite as bad as that. I mean, he's Con and Dex are quite. Oh, actually, no, he's pretty shit. Oh Jesus, yeah. He looks beautiful, and he comes across as very wise and intelligent. A little bit cunning, smarty pants. But you know, he's not weak. He's a little bit underpowered in the strength department. Oh, hello. That's something there. Right. Okay. You get back off again. Do you go into a run or just a walk? Remember, you've got to get to the tower by the end of tomorrow.
Do we know roughly how far it is?
2 days walk. I mean, with a set of huskies. In winter, you could probably do it in, I don't know, a few hours. Oh, yeah, there's loads of huskies around. They walk around in packs. They're tamed by the villagers.
That sounds amazing.
They're very loyal.
We don't have a cart or anything, though.
No, you're not allowed any of that.
A little bit big to be riding huskies.
Don't forget, when you approach the guard tower, you are allowed to trade if you've got anything to trade. And that doesn't mean sexual favours, Gaetan. But you know, if you maybe pick up a trinket or carve something, or can find some way of earning your money, you know, sing a song, do a painting, you know, find a pelt that's particularly beautiful from an animal, anything like that. Basically, it's to show that you have something worth trading. And they have things like weapons and food and all sorts of things there. So you could potentially get an advantage when you get to the guard tower tomorrow. Anyway, you travel on today. Make a stamina check again against Con.
Do we have one more night before we get there?
You have one night before you get there, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. What roll do we need?
It's a constitution save again. Basically, you're back at it. Your bodies are already physically wound up, punching it. Oh no.
Oh dear.
What does this mean?
You're all running along. Aleph just basically slumps down, bolt and doubles over.
We literally by a fire and had fish, and then
yeah.
you just
I think the fish.
Like,
I think the fish had a bit of a bad thing. So basically, he ran. He ran for or trotted for about an hour and a half, and then he just basically just doubles up and slumps over. Okay, Harry.
It turns out getting comfortable made me more tired. So.
Yeah, you collapse to the ground. When you do, your knee catches on an exposed rock. Take a point of damage, Aleth.
That's a lot of damage.
A whole point of damage. You grey. He basically gashes. There's no protection on this armor, so basically on his clothing. So basically, his knee is caught and gashes. A little bit of blood gets on the cloth, and he kind of sits down.
I look at it and smile.
Yeah,
I rub it into my clothes a little and like do this like a claw mark across my chest. And...
That's weird. Not gonna lie, that's weird. It's bleeding quite a bit actually. If you don't tend to it, it's probably going to cause you more damage. Have you got medicine, Aleth?
No. Who carries medicine?
We have robes, don't we?
We have robes. I guess I'll tear a bit off and, plaster it up a little bit.
Okay. Do you ask anyone if they've got medicine, or do you just give
They
it
all
up?
came with the same shit, didn't they?
Sorry?
Sorry. Did none of you come with medicine? I thought we all came with the same things.
Yeah,
It
we've
sounds like
only
you need help.
could I
Does anyone know first aid?
Hi, my name is Freya. I am a first aider.
Okay, actually,
Turns out my leg is bleeding. Who would have known?
yep. So basically, you don't have medicine. You do have technically a +2 in it, Alith, but you don't actually, because it's one of those ones you kind of need to have the skill. Freya, do you want to make a little roll? Medicine
Yeah.
check. There is a
That's
way you can do skill rolls on Avray on the Discord server, but I haven't worked it out yet, so leave it.
So which roll am I doing?
It's a medicine roll. You get a +2.
+2.
Yeah. From your skill, not from your wisdom, because your wisdom is nothing.
Well, thank you.
You're
Plus
unwise.
22.
Wow. You take a small strip of cloth and you clean the wound with a bit of fresh water that you find on some dew on a plant, and you get it all cleaned up and you bandage it beautifully. It's an exceptionally well crafted bandage. The bleeding stops immediately, and the leg starts to feel really, really comfortable, actually, Harry. So Alith is like, I'm ready to go. I mean, that's going to trouble you for a bit, but you reckon by the morning that will probably be gone, as long as you don't put too much strain on it.
Do you wish to continue at the pace we were at before, or do you wish to slow?
Alice?
Alith, that was aimed at you. Oh, I can't hear Harry at all. Harry? Can you hear Harry?
No, I knew I should have taken the feat that lets me lip read.
Harry, we can't hear you. He
He
knows.
knows.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. I'm learning. We can assume he said fire, fire, dead fish, rock, definitely no magic, sorcerer, sorcerer, demon. Looks like he's imitating a goldfish. I can't lip read what he's saying. Blob, blob, blob.
Sounds like the knee pain has got worse.
Yeah, he's speechless. the incredible fine craftsmanship. Okay, we're going to carry on for a second while he tries and sorts out why his mic stopped working. Oh!
Fixed it.
Okay, you're back. So I've got little versions of you here, and I've got a massive versions of you over on this screen, basically, because I'm having to screen capture that whole monitor thing.
Sorry, what I was meant to say is let's walk.
Okay, you walk. You're not going as fast, but the pace is a bit easier. After 4 hours again, you've reached some slightly lighter woodland, and you are now getting quite tired and thirsty and hungry. Make one last constitution check for the day, and then you're going to need to find some water and food again, and a place to camp for the night.
Not good. 9.
12.
11.
Okay, Alith, the pace has been okay for you now, and Gaetan, as always, you're just toughing through it. I mean, this is a normal day for you, to be honest with you, stamina-wise. However, you, Freya, you're exhausted again. You got another exhaustion point. The truth of it seems to be here that even though you're a tough cookie, you don't actually get out that much. You're kind of pampered a little bit, and this level of physical exertion, while quite norm for Gaetan, seems to be hitting you a little bit. You are kind of like, yeah, can we just rest up now, guys? You need to get rid of
There's
that.
a clearing is there that we're in at the moment.
Make a perception roll.
All of us.
Yeah, you're looking for somewhere to basically.
Well,
18.
If you've got if you've got perception and survival skills, you can roll with advantage, which I don't think is any of you actually.
me. Oh no, I don't have perception as well.
No, you don't. None of you. No, you've all got one or the other.
I have nature and survival.
I was considering taking survival. Oh, well.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you've got nature and survival, Gaetan.
Mm.
Oh, that does give you an advantage, actually. Not on this, not on finding the camp, but on finding food. Okay, so between you, you do manage to find somewhere pretty decent to camp out. You do need a fire, though, to survive the night. You know that if you stay out here without a fire, you're not going to be able to sleep. Something's going to basically start nibbling at you.
The things we're carrying still are light, any of them?
All three of them. They were superb.
Should we start using these and I'll go and gather some more?
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, you're using them how they're supposed to be used. Basically, you use this to create a continual fire, and we're just not allowed to let that fire go out.
So yeah, I'll put mine down and I'll go off and see if I can find more wood. Once I've done that, I'll try and hunt for some food.
Okay.
Wasn't the rule that you have to leave with the fire and return with the fire? Do you
Yes.
have to have it lit the entire time?
No.
No, but it's good safety measure. So yeah, it's starting to get a little bit colder now. Obviously, the weather was actually quite mild today. You were quite lucky for your start, but you notice that there's some sort of whiter clouds. Some darker clouds in the horizon, and they seem to be heading your way, which give you some concern. Also, the wind is starting to pick up, and certainly by the evening, the cold is getting worse and worse.
I wish to make a tent.
Yeah, so basically, there could be a good chance of either rain or snow by the next morning. So sleeping outside, even by the fire, is a possibility. But getting some sense of cover or something might be a good idea, or you might get hypothermia.
Well, tent.
Yeah, build some kind of shelter, sort of Bear Grylls style.
The large bracken that's around us.
Okay, make survival rolls, all three of you. If you have nature, you can get advantage.
I'm not very good at this, so I got 7.
I got 10.
And it's a survival one, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least you've got your nature extra.
That's a solid advantage right there. Double 7.
Did you roll twice? No, there was only one.
Oh, no, it's because you always put R's in your name.
Yeah.
Then-
It's because I'm using the
13.
13. Okay, you're able to find enough food, wood for the fire for the whole night. Gaetan, you have found enough brush material and some twigs to be able to make a lean-to, but it's only going to be able to fit one of you in it. Alith, you've not been able to find anything extra. Freya, you've basically not been able to bring anything to the party. You've walked around and gone, yeah, some trees and some... But your brain's like, I'm not quite sure what I can use with this. You know, you've made shelters before, you've had some training, but none of the things that you've been trained on being able to use is around here. Gaetan, however, has a lot more experience out here and has been able to grab some brush, some twigs, and be able to create like a mat that you can cover. So you've got one at a time that you can stay under this shelter. Now, you all need a night's sleep. You're all exhausted. You've basically been running, walking, falling. You've had only a fish today. You are starving hungry. If you don't find any more food tonight, you're probably going to be have an exhaustion point by the morning, if not
I
two.
already have an exhaustion point.
I try and hunt for something.
You do, actually. If you have another one, that gets quite serious. Your speed is halved if you get two. It means
You
you'll slow
should
down.
rest first.
How about me and the
Gaetan.
Gator? That's it.
Gaetan.
Gator. I like Gator.
He was a gator boy. He said, "See you later, boy."
How about me and Gator? You can go and find some food whilst you rest up.
Wait for when you return, then you can take your shifts.
Okay,
That's-
Freya, you snuggle up to the warmth of the fire. You're thirsty as hell. You're hungry. There's no water nearby. You're not feeling that great, but the warmth is helping, and you shelter yourself away from the wind. The wind seems to be picking up, and it's just getting through your tunic. It's just chilling your bones. It's horrible. In fact, really horrible. Gaetan and Alith, you're just glad to be standing up and moving, to be honest with you. As you move, you at least generate some heat, but it's getting colder. There's a definite feel in the air of snow in the next few hours. I mean, you could be wrong, but from your experience. So, how are you going to go about looking for food and water?
Well, I go left, you go right.
Okay, make perception rolls and survival rolls. So, perception first.
That's like Bible, my lord.
I mean, this whole trial is mostly about survival skills.
I know, but like, I didn't really fit in with my character. I'm a bookworm that's also really good at survival. Oh.
Oh god.
Oh
4.
dear.
21.
Okay,
That
Gaetan.
was for perception.
Yeah, you're really struggling to see anything. You don't know whether it's exhaustion or what, but you find nothing. Make a survival roll. Let's see if you can.
Just a straight up roll,
Right,
or is it
Alith.
an advantage?
Alith, you've managed to find some fresh water, and you managed to find. You've spotted a rabbit as well nearby.
No one's near me, right? I went in a different direction.
Yeah, no one's near you.
Yeah, Eldritch bolt it. Eldritch blast it, sorry.
I can make an attack roll. So, exclamation mark, spell,
I know. It's actually exclamation mark cast.
cast, sorry. That will just tell you about the spell.
Isn't that his second cast though? So, is he able to do it anymore?
Oh, it's the cantrip. You can use it.
2 whole damage.
Sorry?
2 whole damage.
Okay, it squeals out in pain. You hear another explosion again, like the one that you heard before.
You bet.
But this time, it again from the direction of where Alith is. Gaetan, you're just coming up blank. What was your...
I haven't done a survival yet.
Okay, do your survival.
Did I kill the rabbit?
No, you haven't killed it, but it's maimed. It's
Is it
making
a straight up survival,
it's
or
making
do
a
you
target.
use it with advantage because of nature again?
It's got bright eyes.
Wait, so it's lying there, so I'm just gonna stab it.
Yeah, you basically just stab it through the head. He'd be dead.
18.
Okay, you managed to find some berries, but you've got no water and no food.
But no knowledge of
If it's
where-
likely to snow, is there like some way I could... Is there anything I can find to build something to capture some of the snow and use it as water?
No, you've basically exhausted yourself looking.
Do I-
You need to go back. You've got some berries. Alith, you've basically got water, but you need to find a way to get it back, or at least mark where it is, and you've got this rabbit to be cooked.
Well, Gaetan had the leaf that he could store water in.
He did. Gaetan makes his way back to the camp. He wakes you up as he approaches. You're not really asleep. The noise of the wind. Can you hear the wind, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah. The noise of the wind is basically making it hard for you to sleep, but you are kind of in a semi-exhausted sleep state. He appears in front of the fire with a few berries Do you offer them to Freya, Gaetan, or do you eat them yourself?
Yeah. No, I'll pass them over. This is all I'm able to find. It's too hard to find anything at the moment, it seems.
I'll go back to the camp.
As you eat the berries, Alith returns. He's got a rabbit on a dagger.
Hello. I
Gaetan,
seem to have found food and water. It's very easy to find things in this weather.
Gaetan, you're impressed. You're impressed.
Gator, I do need a way of storing said water though, so do you reckon you can come with me?
Yeah, I can come, or you can take the leaf thing with me. I can make sure this fire's shielded from the winds.
Yes, I guess start cooking that rabbit.
He hands you the rabbit, and you start skinning it professionally.
Can I give him the...
You have an idea that you might be able to create a skin from the rabbit's hide to create almost like a water skin. So if you clean it out, you might be able to hold like half a litre of water or something in it.
Worth trying, yeah.
Your survival skills will tell you this.
Yeah.
Because you rolled okay with your survival skills, it's just your perception. But now you've got a rabbit, you're like, I can make a water skin out of this.
Yeah.
Not a great one, it will leak a little bit, but it will work. And it will certainly hold enough water to give you, a bit of an advantage tomorrow. I mean, if it snows tomorrow, you might be able to then just eat the snow. Is another option from tomorrow, if there is any snow. Okay, you're right. Freya, you drift off again back into sleep with the smell of cooking rabbit. It's lovely. I mean, the juices are dripping off of it, and it just smells delightful. Gaetan has just expertly skinned it while keeping... actually, the skin's quite intact, apart from the dagger in the head. But you notice as you're peeling it, by the way, the bones are all shattered. Again, reminds you a bit of the fish, basically. It's got like loads of internal damage. And it's like, he must have smashed it against a rock again.
Must have used a rock.
Yeah, he's quite into his rocks. Alice, you go and get some wood. You quaff loads of the water yourself. Just absolutely drown yourself, because you're not going to get another chance. Well, you will actually. If you know where the source is, near the campsite, you can go back to it as many times as you want. And then once you've had your fill, you take enough back. Aleph returns.
Can I look for more animals?
There isn't any others. You've scared them all off with the explosion.
What about berries?
No. Your rolls play out. They're not. Those rolls aren't just for that instance. Those rolls are basically for your time in this camp. You can't find anything out. I mean, the rabbit was an absolute...
I never rolled my survival, so does that matter?
Sorry?
I never rolled my survival.
No, because you used a spell instead and a knife, and you just use perception. You can roll survival, yep. If you haven't done that yet.
14.
Okay, you do find a few more berries.
Yeah.
While you're getting the water, you notice that you recognise a leaf, and you lift it, and under there, sure enough, a small supply of berries. In fact, you leave the berries in the water, and it creates a little bit of flavouring for the water by the time you get back. He's got some flavoured water with some berries, yeah.
I brought back more gifts. No worry.
Alith is a good provider.
I'm
Gaetan, you're starting to doubt yourself again. Oh, I thought I had this.
Fed him into depression.
Yeah, just...
These nobles, they clearly made of sterner stuff. Maybe you should stick to the fields and the wheat and the corn and the wood and the trees and the sheep. But anyway, you've cooked a great rabbit. You've got fresh water. Alith returns a couple of times until you've all had enough water to get a real good meal. I mean, the rabbit and the berries isn't a lot, but it's enough to stop the bellies from screaming out and for the hunger pains to drive you mad. Are you going to take watches, or are you just going to go to sleep?
Well, the tent only fits one of us at a time, so I'm assuming to keep watch whilst one sleeps.
Okay.
I don't mind taking first watch.
I've been sleeping this entire time, so I'm assuming at some point.
Yeah, you're just going to keep sleeping, Freya, until somebody makes you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ladies.
After your watch, Gaetan, you go next. You hear something in the distance. Something familiar.
I think I just heard an owl.
Oh no.
Yeah. You're not sure. No one else has heard it, but you're sitting there on the ground, and every once in a while you hear howls again and again.
How roughly, if they're very close or far?
Am I still asleep or escaping?
You're asleep.
What?
Alith is asleep as well. He just basically slumped next to the fire. I mean, you could try and curl up really, really close to Freya, because you're quite skinny. You might actually be able to catch some of the shelter. That might help a little bit.
Hell yeah, windbreaker. Let's do it.
Okay, Freya, you notice the cold body of the skinny cold body of Alith kind of snuggle up to you in the cold.
Hello?
Not an uncommon thing in these northern tribes.
Have a slight barrier, like gap between us two.
Okay. I mean, it's not uncommon for people to get close out in the wilderness. It's not like a pervy thing.
Yes, but my family honour, if I'm meant to be marrying another man, I should be snuggling with
Do
someone.
not worry, I'm a naval race too.
Yeah.
Just whatever you do not move my hair in my sleep. I like it this way, and if you touch it, I will slap you.
Okay. It gets to about 6 hours into the night, Gaetan, and you're not keeping your eyes open. The sleep is starting to draw at you. You hear a disturbing noise that just wakes you up again a final time, and you realise that you need to get some sleep, otherwise you're going to be no use tomorrow.
And
You hear growls.
Am I still exhausted?
yeah, look, they're close.
Quite close. The fire is starting to die down as well,
Uh,
and you're starting to run out of logs. Freya, you're feeling quite refreshed now. Actually, you wake up. You think you
So,
hear.
do I still have my exhaustion point?
You do at the moment, but you are feeling a bit better, as in enough to be awake. And obviously, you need spells or anything like that. You've not really prepared any new spells.
Spells? What do you mean spells? I don't have spells.
Spells, hell spells. Yeah, you get what you think in your sleep. You hear a growling, but when you wake up, it's gone. But you see Gaetan looking around like this.
yeah, just
Did you hear that?
yes, it's been a while. I think it's getting closer now.
Well, they did say that the walls may have moved south, but the polar bear things are moving from the north, so we'll have to keep
In the fire, is there any logs that are still lit that could be held?
Sorry.
Are there any logs that are in the fire that could still be held?
No,
sort
they're
of like a
gonna
torch.
all be gone out by the morning.
I mean, at the moment, with this growling approaching.
One maybe, yeah. But you're
Can I try?
shattered. You need to sleep, otherwise you're going to get an exhaustion point.
Okay, I'll point out the one that's there. I don't know how close they are, but
Okay.
if they come, that'll
Alith's under the shelter as well. Do you try and snuggle in with him?
just lay on top of it. I don't care.
Okay.
Just collapse.
Alith, you wake up
Waking up.
briefly to a massive body just basically slumping down onto you. He doesn't hold back. He just basically curls up with you. These commoners, they're quite used to snuggling up in the winter. You're so tired you don't give a shit.
I'll take guard outside.
Freya, you stand watch with a lit chunk of wood in your hand, torch bearer, protecting the innocents. You keep hearing the howls. Sometimes they seem nearer, sometimes they seem further. However, the fire seems to be keeping them at bay. You just know that if that fire goes out, you don't know what's going to happen. Morning comes. You start heading out. Sorry.
Attacked by a floating dust.
Nice.
Ignore that for a second. You get up in the morning, the fire's gone out, you've got no fire whatsoever now, but it kept the wolves at bay. You pack up your stuff, you're hungry again, but you feel like you need to start heading out because you got to make up for time. And you haven't really got much stuff to pack up and take. You do now have a water skin that Gaetan's skillfully made, and you feel that... Yeah, which you then fill with water due to Aleph. Freya just says, thanks, guys.
I don't really know how I'm any help on this mission at all.
You just got to survive it, I think.
Yeah.
You do. There's a part of you that wonders whether the rules have changed.
I helped Alex when his leg got hurt.
Yeah, you do wonder whether the rules have changed because Jarl knows that you're going to be in the group. But surely they wouldn't be so small-minded.
It's snow or not?
I'm assuming by the heavy wind, no. But
It's a blizzard.
Yeah. So the wind's getting worse now. You travel on for a bit longer, and after about 4 hours again of walking in the cold, it starts to snow. Make stamina rolls. You are now freezing. Did you say 8?
yeah.
Okay, you now got 2 stamina points.
Or 2 exhaustion.
2 exhaustion points. Yeah, you're now starting to slow down. You're finding it harder and harder to keep moving and keep motivated. It's just getting too much.
Sorry, I've been. I haven't really had much.
Okay, sorry.
Are there any animals nearby?
Not at the moment. No. Aleph, have you made a Constitution check?
No, sorry. I was just having to sort out my sound. It was being weird. 9.
But we know.
Okay, you've also got a stamina point, Aleph. You're exhausted. You're hungry. There's no food around. You're starting to slow down as a group. Gaetan, how did you do?
I think I got.
You're at 12.
Yeah, 12.
The snow's falling, but it's quite light at the moment. You can see it falling. But the growling gets louder. And then the thing that you feared the most, sensing your weakness.
Are we all awake at this point?
You're awake, but you've got an exhaustion point.
I've got
Gaetan, what was your stamina, your Constitution check?
12.
12. Okay. You're okay. But you go to start again. You're on the path and about to start heading north back into the brush.
Oh, you just cut out.
I can't hear you over the wall.
No, you completely cut out.
It's a very beastly wolf.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep.
The wolves just suddenly appear around you. In fact, one of those wolves is supposed to be somewhere else.
I know I'm exhausted, but can I maybe be friends with these wolves?
Right. The 3 of them. There's 3 wolves in front of you, looking absolutely ferocious, and another wolf behind. And then in the distance, you can see watching. Oh, an absolutely massive wolf. Here we go.
Is there a lead wolf?
It's the one at the back.
Yeah, the one at the back, but he looks like a slightly mythical wolf. He looks really cunning, powerful.
Well, I think by 2 exhaustion points that I'm not going to be able to fight them.
Well,
However,
you could fight them, but because basically your
I don't
halves are
wanna
moved
die.
and your skill checks are halved. So at the moment you're okay for battle, just not for travelling.
I think when the first sight of them, Gaetan's going to run forward to be in between them and the other two, just instinctively without saying anything.
Am I allowed to cast animal friendship on the the biggest wolf, the leader of the pack?
Okay, so you step in front. There. What is that noise?
No, it came from Harry.
Why does your voice sound weird?
Oh, sorry.
What was that?
I unleashed my my warlock too soon. My bad.
Oh. Should we be all doing silly voices? Is that what we should be doing? Oh, I'm the fish people. Sorry.
I didn't
Jesus.
realise Ellie was in the room.
Right, roll for an initiative. Wait, there's a way that I can initiate this, isn't there?
I got 14.
21.
13.
There you go.
Helpful at last.
That looks cool, doesn't it?
That's the old picture of him.
But it is. You haven't updated it. Just do exclamation mark update, James, and then it's all good. There we go. Right. Freya, what are you going to do?
I told you, I want to have animal friendship with the head wolf.
So you're going to use your spell.
Yes, please.
Right.
And
Okay.
then I want to side-eye Ali while I do it.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you do exclamation mark spell and then the spell name, it actually brings up the spell's details to help you with it. Though actually, if you're using Beyond, you can just do it from Beyond as well. So the range is 30 feet. 5,
must hear
10,
you.
15,
Yeah, you're not in
20,
range.
25, 30.
You're not in
Okay,
range.
the only wolf that you can cast this on is the one behind you. And you can, even then, 5, 10, 15, 5, 10. Every square is 5 foot, by the way, Charlotte. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You'll have to move. You'd have to move 2 to the right. You'd have to move to... bollocks.
Why did the head wolf move away? He wasn't that far before.
Basically, it's just how the map was set when I first started it, but that's not where you were. If you move to here and then cast it,
Okay, well, I'll move and cast.
you won't be able to cast this spell on the Master Wolf, by the way. He's too intelligent.
Okay,
It's
fine, I'll
only
take
work on the wall. Okay, you cast a spell. The wolf suddenly stops growling and just looks at you. What do you want it to do?
Persuade the others to stand.
It's not going to work. It won't do that.
Why not? I got a great persuasion.
Yeah. No, it definitely it's befriended you. The most you can probably get it to do is walk off. You won't be able to get it to attack. It's not like a charm spell. Even then, with the charm spell, it has limited.
It can stand guard by me.
Okay. Can you use it to attack? Okay. I mean, you can try and use it to attack. You risk the spell potentially ending. And I mean, that wolf is now going to be your friend for 24 hours, basically.
Well, I'd like to Exactly. I want to keep it, so he's just gonna stand guard by me.
Right. Okay. The wolf comes up to stand next to you.
I'm just thinking.
It nuzzles against you.
As in, like, for clothes later on. Maybe.
Okay, Gaetan and Alith. Okay, Alith isn't there, but you notice that for some reason Freya starts to whisper words under her breath while looking at the wolf, and then the wolf suddenly stops growling, lowers its lip so it's not threatening anymore, and it just walks up to Freya and just starts nuzzling her.
So I've dealt with this one.
Can you do that with the others?
By the looks of it, the spell lets you with a beast.
What'll I miss?
You could cast it on another beast, but one word of warning for you: if anyone gets injured, you're going to need a cure wounds, and you've just used one of your first level spells already.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting there,
How did you manage? How did you manage that?
Same way that you could have managed a fire earlier on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Since the self-confessed sorcerer.
Okay, Alith, it's your turn. The situation looks pretty dire. Those three wolves and the dire wolf behind look absolutely fierce. The dire wolf, for some reason, isn't engaging at the moment, but more assessing.
Alith, may I recommend you use that rock that you used for the fish and the rabbit?
Yes, that rock would be...
See, I have no rock to hand right now, darling. If you can fetch me a rock, I'll throw it and I'll kill it.
I'm
gonna hold my turn.
I mean, on 7, these guys are going to pounce like crap.
Oh, they're on 7. Okay, that's no worries then. I'm actually gonna... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Can you not see it? Can you not see they're on 7?
No, I can just see the pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't say they're on 7 for me.
Alright,
I just thought they were nice little wolves that I've got.
Oh no, sorry, yeah, it does. Initiative 1d25 plus 2, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't come with any picture or anything, so it didn't notice it.
Okay.
Did mine go over?
Yeah, so you could move, you move 3 squares, so you could move another 3 squares if you wished.
Well, then I'll move forward with my wolf to stand either with Alex or in front of Alex.
I'm going to,
You're going to stand.
turn around.
You're going to go and stand with Alith.
With my wolf. Go on, wolf.
I'm gonna say to Gaetan, oh Gaetan, look! There's another dire wolf to your left!
Persuasion roll quickly. I think the game's going to be up pretty quickly. With your little...
Everyone knows he's just trying
Gaetan, he's hiding something from me, dude. You know he's hiding from you.
I don't care what the rock that you need to use is, but use it now.
Oh, fine. Blast.
You got burning hands, haven't you?
Yeah, but it's not useful right now. As he says that, I'm going to suddenly my eyes turn red.
Let these boats slay these creatures, and the power of the fiend kill them.
Strange
I'm
voice.
gonna cast Eldritch Blast. Blast.
Okay, the blast smashes out. Make an
At
attack
the
roll.
furthest right one, is closest one to me.
Yep. AC's 13.
It's 12. Fuck's sake.
If only you had someone casting bardic inspiration.
Oh, sorry, am I meant to be inspiring people? Well,
Next round.
okay, sorry. I'll get my loot out next time.
Okay. The bolt flashes past them. However, the noise scares them, and actually one of the wolves starts running backwards towards their master. These are only wolves. Such eldritch powers blasting past their ears. Even though it didn't hurt them, it's just scared the shit out of him. And he's run back. The other two are like.
You didn't see that. That was my rock.
Do you move at all, or do you stay? Are you standing your ground and letting Gaetan take the brunt of the attack?
Can I inspire him?
Next turn you can, yeah.
I quite like the look of this friendly wolf.
Yeah, I've got a pet here, so I'm quite happy.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, the pet's going to be very bloody useful for the next 24 hours. Okay.
Help us find food.
Well, it can be food if necessary.
That's what I was thinking. That's a big old bit of meat.
Where is spell
Wolf's
in your character?
Wolf's very muscular as well. Lots less meat on him.
Okay, right. Gaetan, it's over to you next, I believe. Yeah,
I
you're on
will
13.
move.
How do I inspire?
You basically need to use your bardic inspiration.
How do I do that? Because that's not a spell.
No, it's not. It's a skill, but I don't think it's a bonus action. The only thing you've got left you could do at the moment is a bonus action. I do not believe it's a bonus action activity. Let me just check. Bardic inspiration.
I'm just down here with my wolf then.
You can inspire others through stirring words or music. To do so, you use a bonus action.
Wait.
Bruh.
Oh, if only you'd done that
Bruh,
before
you could have
his
used
spell.
that.
Sorry.
It's fine. I basically
You
killed
can
it.
choose one creature other than yourself within 60 feet of you. That creature gains one bardic inspiration die of a d6. Once within the next 10 minutes, you might as well cast it on Gaetan now.
Yeah, I'll
Once within the next 10 minutes, the
Sorry.
creature can roll a
I'm
dice
used
and
to
add
this.
that number. The creature can wait until after it rolls a d20 before deciding to use the bardic inspiration die, but before the DM tells you whether it's a pass or not. Once the bardic inspiration is lost, the creature can have one bardic inspiration die at a time. So basically, you can inspire him this turn, and then you can inspire Alith next time.
Okay. I'm gonna inspire Gaetan.
Damn, son. Okay. Right.
By the means of interpretive dance.
Freya starts dancing, pulsing rhythmically, her body just moving like the breeze itself, portraying stories of violence and inspiration, of heroism. Gaetan, you are just inspired by this and strangely aroused at the same time. This is a dance of gods. She even does a little bit of like percussive work with her mouth.
Head, shoulders,
Knees and toes. But Gaetan, seriously, mate, you're like, I'm taking it to these wolves. You are Gaetan Wolfsbane. This is what you were born to do. So, Gaetan.
You got this, bro.
I'm going to just run in at the one that's just directly ahead of me.
Okay, you get a
With
charge
the
attack with
knife.
your dagger. You are at advantage.
I have advantage against wolves anyway.
Oh, you do, don't you?
Yeah. Might as well. What? I don't have a knife equipped on D&D Beyond.
Just roll attack. We know what your bonus is. So you would be 2, and your strength is 3, so 5. So basically it's going to be 5 plus your dice roll.
Wouldn't it be a finessable weapon? As a dagger.
Let me just check that.
I've got one right here. I can check.
Really easy. I can just.
Yeah, it is finesse. Yeah.
Okay, you can use your dex.
So it would be 1. It would be +6.
Good spot there, my man. +6.
21, and it was advantage, so I'll just fish for a crit, hopefully.
Yeah, basically your dagger just plunges into that wolf. Roll damage.
Yeah, but it's 21 for the advance. What's dagger damage?
1d4?
4 and 6.
It's 1d4.
And I get, with finesse weapons, it's adding my dex instead of strength damage in this edition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
6 damage.
6 damage. Okay.
But does my inspiration bring that up to 7 and kill it?
No, you can't use it for damage rolls.
It's for attacks.
Yeah. Okay, it's a deep wound into it. You just basically plunge it straight into its chest. It squeals out in pain and tries to roll and bellow and move out of the way. But you clutch hold of its hair, pull the dagger out, ready for another stroke. You are Wolfsbane after all, and these things will fall. Okay, the wolves going to attack. Both of them.
Just before the turn ends, I'm going to push up 30 feet. Just forwards will do. Slightly behind Wolfsbane.
Okay.
I'm assuming I'm not moving, but
Just to get in within range of stuff.
am I able to move forward with my wolf?
The other wolf at the moment is has gone right back down to the dire wolf.
Am I able to join the
No. You've had all your movement for this turn.
Cool. Just chilling back here with my pet.
Yeah. Okay. They're going for an attack on you.
Bye, boys.
They hit AC.
39.
Wait.
Wolves have magic attack too.
Okay, they have an advantage on attack if they have a pack mates next within 5 feet of them, which they do. So 15. Why can I not see their attack bonus? Ah, +4. There we go. Right, so hits AC 19.
That is.
Okay.
That hits.
The first one gnaws his teeth into you. You know these guys, if they get them into a pack, can be absolutely devastating. You desperately want to try and isolate them off so that they are not advantaged on you. Though you, of course, are all advantaged on them as well. 2, 3, 4, 5. One of them bites into you for 5 damage. Its teeth just grabbing into your leg. The pain is excruciating, Gaetan. Take 5 hit points. Second one attacks for hits AC 14.
Nope.
Is that without your armor? Don't forget
I have AC 18.
Yeah, but that's with armor.
No, that's unarmored defense.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah. Oh, mate. The second one just tries to get in on your arm, but your skin's just so tough that it just can't even find purchase. You shrug it off and kick it out of the way. The first one's still, the blood's still dripping down your leg, where the first one's got a good chunk of thigh in its mouth right now. The large direwolf makes a vicious. Oh God, my bloody phone's in the way. Hold on. It makes a vicious growl at the. Hello, I've lost me doodad. Oh, there it is. Give me a second. He makes a vicious growl at the others, and they all start to turn and become inspired again towards attacking you. Next turn, same initiative rolls. Okay, Alith.
I'm not first.
Who was the one that got 20? Oh, was it you?
Charlotte.
Ah, right. Freya.
Yeah.
Don't forget your bonus action of being able to inspire.
Well, I'm meant to inspire Alice next. So.
Yeah.
I haven't used the inspiration yet. Use it on one of the attack.
Yeah, well, you've got that. You can hold on to that for 10 minutes now. Yes, what are you going to do? You've got one friended. You've got one first level spell left. Don't forget you got your cantrips. Or you got your dagger.
Can I move forward?
You can charge, which gives you an attack with advantage.
Can I inspire and then Aleph and then charge with my dagger at one of the wolves? Or
Yes.
is that?
Yes, you can.
I would like to inspire Aleph first, just in case.
Aleph. Freya calls out your name. You look round. What are you going to do to inspire him?
I am going to pick up 2 pebbles from the ground and create.
Oh. Love rocks.
Yeah, she hits you with some hard rock music, and you're like, bum 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 bum. You're feeling it, pumping it. It's almost like Satan. Yeah, you're in it. Okay, you've inspired him. You got your D6.
I would like to leave my wolf where it is so it can stay safe.
It looks at you and goes, okay.
Okay.
However, I'd like to charge with my dagger, please.
Okay, are you going to charge on the wounded one or the fresh one?
Fresh one.
Fresh one.
She can only reach the one on the bottom, can't she?
Oh, she can't, the fresh one, yeah. Okay, you get an attack with advantage. Your knife's out in front of you. For Norburg! For Norburg! You yell. Okay, attack roll with advantage. Basically means you get to roll it twice and you choose the best one.
Okay.
So you just do exclamation mark attack. Dagger. I think you've got dagger activated actually on yours.
Is there space or not?
It's exclamation mark attack space dagger.
That one and then.
Oof. So I've always seen low rolls when you attack with a weapon. See that, a 1 and a 2.
I'll take the damage. The hit 7. Damage
It's
5.
gonna miss.
Doesn't matter. Unfortunately, you bring your knife down. That is horrendous rolls. And,
Yeah, it's done. Every roll was done for me as well, whilst using something from like a weapon or a spell from that. It's always been like below
I'm a
10.
big group myself, but I've tried.
Yeah, a critical fail and a 2. So basically, it's a really bad. You mistime it terribly. You're very nervous. You've never been in combat in your life. You bring down the knife, but the wolf is just turning as you do it, and it just knocks it out of your hand. Thankfully, you still hold on to the knife. If it had been 2 ones, you'd have been dropping it and everything. But you basically just stumble, and you lose all your momentum, but you haven't damaged it. And you stand facing it. The wolf turns to you. Now it's got your attention. Okay, so that was on 20-something. Alice,
It's my turn.
you're now inspired.
Now I'm distracting it. Someone, please stab it in the head.
I'm going to stand directly where next to Freya.
Freya.
So I'm at an angle that I can see both wolves.
Nope, not there then. Where from where I put you now? Down, left, right?
Down.
How many down, how many left?
1 down. No, 2 down, preferably. Just below Freya. Yeah, just the other side of Freya.
Right.
I want to be like real fucking close.
Well, you gotta be the.
Okay,
wolves
you can see
right
both wolves in a line.
I'm hoping that for some weird reason Alice is able to stab one wolf and then through that wolf go to stab the other.
That's not quite the plan, but
I've inspired you, so I'm hoping for good things.
Well,
Let the burning hellfire destroy you.
Per round, or is it 2 spells per like day?
I'm gonna cast Burning Hands.
How are you doing that?
It's just a voice changer.
I hope that's not blaring out in your flat and disturbing everybody.
No,
Sad.
Just
why do you think I put headphones on?
Okay.
That's why my sound was going weird earlier, because I had to set up the app, and I messed with my whole, like, prioritized audio inputs and stuff.
Right.
Right,
Is
cast...
it 2 spells per day or 2 spells per round?
You have spell slots. They last till you have a long rest.
Okay.
I haven't used the first level slot yet.
No, he hasn't.
No, Charlotte asked.
Well,
But you can use cantrips unlimited
No,
amount of times.
No, it's because
No, but I haven't used the first level slot.
No, it's because you were probably messing around earlier doing spelling and doing. You were probably messing around with spells earlier.
No, I've only been casting Eldritch Blast today. I was messing around.
Don't know. What are you casting?
Burning Hands. So I'll just roll it, I guess.
Just roll it. We know what you're doing.
So it's a 15-foot cone, so it's going to hit both of them. It's a spell DC save of 14 for Dex. So it needs to be 14 Dex. And that is for half as much damage.
So wait. Right, hold on. Cut 15-foot cone. All right, so you're going to do a 15-foot cone going out like that, so it catches both wolves, but avoids. Yeah. Okay. A spray of sheets of flame shoot forth from your outstretched fingertips. Okay, I'm going to do dex saves. Failed. 16, 17, 18. What's your DC?
14.
Okay. The one nearest to you fails utterly. The one that's further away, the wounded one, passes, so he takes half.
Okay.
So roll 3d6 damage. 12 damage. Well, that makes the maths easy. Okay, the first one is absolutely incinerated. The second one is absolutely incinerated. Both of them burned to death. You see the glint of red in his eyes. It's terrifying. Gaetan, you're like, what the fuck? And Freya, you've not seen magic like this.
By the power of Satan.
And the fire just bursts out, and both of them just absolutely get incinerated. Yo.
my wolf's still doing great. I'm happy.
Yeah. The direwolf is like not having any of this whatsoever. It goes in for a full-on charge.
Not on me, I hope.
On its turn. It's not its turn yet. Oh, he goes there and then decides to go back because it's not his turn. Right, is there anything else you're doing, Alith? I mean, you've pretty much used up all your...
Yeah, I'm done with it.
Okay.
My one spell slot. Good.
Gaetan, what are you going to do? You've just seen two wolves just incinerate. It makes your attack on the wolf with the pitchfork seem a bit lame now.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at him and be like, I don't even want to know. But step a bit further forward so that I'm in the way of the other wolf, the dire wolf, and just call back to them, stay behind me.
Okay, so you're going to hold your action.
Ready my action.
See someone incinerate two wolves and still protect them.
That's Gaetan for you.
He's basically using himself as a shield.
I have to set my what I'm going to do is only one trigger, isn't it? Or can I have two different triggers for my action?
I'm pretty loose on this. Don't worry about it. Just basically, when it gets to their turn, you can then go. I'm just going to do that before them.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right. So you're waiting down. Alith, you've had your go. You didn't even need to use your. So you've both still got your bardic inspiration. Don't forget.
Ready for what?
Okay. At the end of their turn, this massive wolf charges in, and so does the other wolf. He's now got his confidence back. These guys are fast. First one goes in on Gaetan. Rolls a 6, advantaged. 9.
They charge in. Can I?
4. AC 13 on Gaetan. I think that misses, doesn't it?
It misses, yeah.
Right. Okay. And then the a direwolf goes in. He's got a better attack. Not that much better. Okay. Whoop. Hello. Direwolf gets hold of you. All right. That's for damn sure.
As they charge in, am I able to go into my rage?
Oh, you haven't raised yet, have you?
No, I'm going to do it as this one charges in, as the direwolf comes in.
Okay, well, you do it as a bonus action. I think it's a rage. And
Yes,
Gaetan's just gone mad. He's just like, this is not the calm Gaetan that
Join
you've been
the club,
seeing so
Dar.
far. Yeah, okay, you start toughening up and becoming ragier. Well, I would have done it on your attack, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they come charging in. He bites you viciously. Now make a strength check as I do my damage rolls. 2d6. 6, 8.
Just a straight up strength.
8. Hold on. 8 plus 3. That's 11 damage. He's just done 11 damage to you.
I have resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing while raged.
This is just half and then
It
just 5.
Yeah,
6,
so 11, 5 damage.
And my strength thing is a 7.
Oh dear.
That's
you're
terrible.
advantaged against wolves. I'll let you have that with this as well.
But he's also advantaged against strength saves, remember, when you're raged.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it is a strength save.
20. Yeah, not much better. 9.
Your strength save is plus 5, don't forget, because it's a...
Yep, it's 9.
I sorry, done that. 9.
4 in the 2.
Okay, basically the direwolf grabs you with its teeth in the waist. You're able to absorb a lot of the damage just because of the sheer anger flowing through you. But he picks you up and throws you on the ground, knocking you prone. You're like,
What damage was
Huh?
What damage did it do, sorry?
It did 5 damage.
Okay.
So you're bleeding quite heavily now.
Yep. Still up, well, prone, but still alive.
Okay, you going to do your attack?
And yeah, I'll strike at the... I'm prone now, though, aren't I?
Ah, yeah, you didn't use your attack. Yep, you're prone. So you can use the rest of your turn to get up.
Yeah, I'll just get up and...
And try and break free, make another strength check.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Advantaged. Don't be shit this time.
Oh my goodness.
It's alright, they're progressively getting better.
Yeah, slowly. There
Hey! Okay, you manage to you stagger back up. He's got his teeth into you, and you just grab hold of the nozzle of his mouth, and you just pull his mouth apart, and you throw him back off. You're just too angry to care. You hate wolves. They're going down.
Going down.
In a blaze of glory. Okay, initiative next turn. Freya,
Yeah.
you're in there, girl.
Well, I'm trying to decide at the moment between whether I need to heal the people around me or whether I can just go for another spell.
I mean, Gaetan's pretty wounded.
Alright,
And
fine.
one or two
I'll
more hits
attack
and he could
with
go
my-
down.
My dagger again.
Okay, so you're going to do cure. You're going to cure wound.
I assume so.
Okay, so do cast cure wound.
Assuming I'm close enough to that.
You're right next to him.
Yeah.
It's the
Well,
perfect
he
time.
got thrown, so I
Yeah,
didn't-
no, he's still in the same 5-foot spot.
Okay.
So you got to touch him. It's instantaneous. It's 1d8 plus 4.
What do I need to write?
Just roll 1d8 plus 4. Okay. I think Alice is trying to steal your thunder here.
I just found out the voice I have can come in the background.
Your voice change is still on.
Distraction
Oh,
changed my
sorry.
cure wounds. It distracted me.
Okay, 5. Yep. Oh no.
I'll take it.
Could you hear that music?
Yeah, you distracted her though. She only rolled a 1 on her cure wounds. Okay,
Oh, sorry, my bad.
you feel Freya's hands on you, and it's warm to the touch, and you feel healing flowing through you, and you get 5 hit points back.
negates the wound it
I
just
would have
gave
done
me.
better if Alice
Yeah.
wasn't so.
It's
Distraction.
fine. I don't even notice what's going on.
Alice is
Just-
still playing the music.
Yeah.
Is he?
No,
No,
you're
it's
not.
not.
No, you're not. You're
I
fine.
was going to say.
Okay,
Oh, I
Alith.
can hear it.
Alith, it's your go.
I am going to Eldritch Blast, funnily enough, onto the Alpha.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that from the tip of your left tip across to him. Yeah.
Thing is, I can't really do anything else now.
He's a
so-
large creature, so he takes up 4 squares. He's massive. Okay, make your attack roll. Remember, you've got your D6 if you want to choose to use
It's
it.
nat 20.
Boom.
And it does 14 damage.
Okay, that is a lot. That is a lot. Okay. Okay, the Eldritch Blast smashes into the direwolf. He howls out in pain. But he is pissed.
Unlimited power.
Can't.
This thing is pissed. It roars out at you again and again. It's going to have you. That's what it's going to do. Okay, are you staying where you are or are you moving?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah?
Good, you are. Actually, nah. I think it's going to be pretty pissed with me now. I'm a full, but now that I've only got my Eldritch Blast, I'm a full 30 feet back. But at an angle that I can still see the Alpha. But only just, like, kind of tippity tip.
Okay, you move yourself back behind the tree. So just basically somewhere where you can still see him to cast on it, giving you a fairly advantageous position. Is that good?
Can I then roll for stealth? Or is that an action?
Not this turn, you've used everything, but I'll let you use it this next turn to hide if you want after casting a spell. You stay where you are. Right, okay. Gaetan. You're angry.
I'm going to toilet quick.
You've been wounded, you've been healed, you've been wounded.
I don't notice that I've been wounded or healed because it's exactly the same health as before it bit me. But
I mean, at the moment they're advantaged because they've either got each other.
yeah,
You've either got to try and take out the direwolf or try and take out the smaller wolf that's already wounded. Oh no, it's not. That one's not wounded.
I'm going to go for the direwolf. I'm not going. I wouldn't.
Okay, big
Out of
boy.
the two,
Straight
it's
for
the
the big boy.
one that needs to die first.
Okay, make an attack roll with your dag.
Can I choose to use strength or dexterity for the attack?
Yeah.
I'll use strength because rage gives me extra damage if I land it. So it'll only be +5 rather than +6.
Yeah, the finessing basically means that the way you wield your weapon is basically you choosing all the time how you're going to, the style that you're going to do it.
It's not the best. No, 10.
Okay, don't forget you've got a D6 Bardic Inspiration. I haven't told you whether you succeeded on that.
Yeah. I'll use that on the roll. I just roll a D6, yeah?
Yeah.
3, so 13.
You make it on the nail.
Yes.
You're inspired by the hip thrusting movements of Freya. You're remembering how she made you feel proud to be a member of the Norburg village, and with the bardic inspiration boosting you up, your dagger plunges into the direwolf. Roll for damage.
D4 damage for the dagger, yeah?
So Harry, he's just used his bardic inspiration, and it just made him hit the AC. Noise.
North.
Noise.
So 8 damage in total.
Right. Okay, your dagger plunges him right into his stomach. He's looking really wounded at this time. Blood starting to well out from his chest. And he's already got a huge sort of gaping burnt wound in his side where the Eldritch Blast smashed into him. He's definitely looking frail. And on that note, he goes in. He lashes out again, still advantage because there's two of them. AC 15? Nope. Okay, the direwolf fails to hit, and then the wolf attacks you. AC 20?
Yeah.
Okay, the wolf hits, but the direwolf doesn't. You're distracted by the direwolf. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. It's an excellent hit. Rips you right in the thigh again.
It'll be half for 4, won't it?
Yep, half down to 4 damage.
Okay.
Yeah, he's this Gaetan guy, by the way, Alith and Freya. He's taking grievous wounds, and he's just shrugging them off. He's like a tank.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm watching him get mauled and pathetically just letting him get on with it.
Yep. Okay, next round, Freya.
Okay. How much health has the direwolf got left?
You don't know. He looks pretty damn wounded, though.
Well, can I attack with my dagger, please?
You're nowhere near. You can attack the wolf.
Okay, I'll attack the wolf.
Okay, if you're gonna be advantaged because you've got a slight flank. If you move to the right slightly, so you foot on him. Emerge from
Emerge and stab.
And stab. Yeah, giving you a 2-side advantage. You can get an advantage roll on it. So make your attack roll.
What? Which one is it?
Exclamation mark attack dagger.
Oh yeah. And then advantage, so I can do that again.
Those rolls really are crud.
Yeah. I'll take the 7 one.
Okay, so 12 to hit. Let me just check the wolf's AC.
Wouldn't they a 7?
No, their AC's 13. You just miss again. I mean, it's so close. If you only had Bardic Inspiration on yourself, that would be great. However, you don't get to do that on yourself. You do have Bardic Inspiration again as a bonus action, and Gaetan has used his.
Well, then I'll give him another Bard of Inspiration.
I think you can keep using it. Pretty sure you can.
It's just once per turn, isn't it?
Yeah, on somebody, but you can't give it to someone who's already got it. But once they've used it, you can give it to them again. Okay, you whisper in something in his ear and inspire him again. Any idea how you're going to inspire him this time?
A light hum.
Okay, the humming just gets really infectious. Gaetan, you're feeling it. There's so much adrenaline, so much testosterone pumping around your body. Your abs are just like pulsing on their own, and your pecs are just like. You are.
Machine gun.
Yeah, you are feeling like a man right now. You could take one of these wolves just with your bare hands.
Because we kind of need that to happen.
Yeah, something's got to happen. Right. Okay. Alith. Make a stealth roll.
Don't want to. Actually, no.
Oh, but don't.
If I need to cast and then use the stealth roll.
Yes, I did say that would be a good idea. So do that too.
Yeah, probably not a good idea to do stealth and then cast.
When did
It
that
doesn't really do much.
But don't you get really good stealth roll, and it's like, hey, that tree attacked me.
16 plus 6, 22 to hit. Damage
You
is
said those
6.
attack rolls that aren't very good. Look at that.
With Charlotte's attack roll aren't very good.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
Why would I ever use my tree strike? Is that a thing?
That's a first level spell, I think. You have
Yeah,
other
it is.
cantrips. It's definitely worth looking at the other cantrips you've got if you feel like your dagger action's not doing it for you.
Let me have a
What I
look at
seem to be
Charlotte's.
doing is attempting a dagger and then failing.
Is that on Direwolf again, I'm assuming?
Spells. Yeah. You've got. No, yeah, True Strike is a cantrip. Point your finger at a target in range, or magic grants you to brief insight into the target's defense as you get advantage in your next attack. Yeah, you should definitely cast Boost Strike, but it basically uses your action to then
There's
hit.
no point. She's already advantaged because she's flanking.
Yeah, there you go.
There's no benefit in using that spell.
Oh, you have Thunder Wave.
Yeah, but there's no point in me using it because I have my friendship with my animal, and then I had to cure someone, and I wasn't allowed my fun spells. Oh,
But anyway, I'm gonna roll stealth now after I've done that. But yeah, that was 6 damage to the direwolf.
Yep. Another blast smashed into the direwolf. He's like, oh, me back, oh. You
Blast.
the damage is staggering. This thing is taking. It's staggering around. You can see blood pouring from multiple wounds.
Harry, was your spell called Endurance Clap or whatever it was?
Eldritch Blast.
Eldritch Blast.
That's it. I got a plan.
Okay.
I rolled a 10 for myself.
Okay. Yeah, you don't really. You try and hide behind a tree, but you're really like a big lump of black.
It's the red eyes that give me away.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, Gaetan. What are you?
I'm gonna do another stab at the direwolf.
Okay.
And I'm gonna use my strength rather than dex, so maybe +5.
Better get you inspired again if you need it.
That's
you
a
don't
20.
need it.
That's a 20. Natural 20.
That is natural 20.
Does the extra damage from rage get doubled as well?
Just your dice roll.
No.
Do I just roll 2 or just double it?
Just 2 dice rolls. So 2d4.
2d4
2d4 plus 3 plus 2.
plus 2. 9 damage.
9 damage. Your dagger smashes into its eyeball, crushes its skull, destroys its brain.
What? He gets the final kill.
He does. It was on 9 hit points. Look, 9. Oh, you won't be able to read it.
I've already incinerated too, to be fair.
Yeah, he grabs hold of it. His left arm goes around the direwolf, and then he just smashes that knife in again and again and again, and it whimpers. The other wolf is terrified, and it tries to run off. Freya and Gaetan get an attack of opportunity.
This done advantage as well.
Yep. So Freya, you get an attack as well, with advantage.
Out of combat, because it's running away, and it won't get away in 6 seconds, I'd also like to cast an Eldritch Blast as a slight attack opportunity, but also because by the time it's a long range spell, so it won't be able to get enough distance away from me before I can cast it.
Am I rolling attack dagger?
Yes, you are. Okay, Gaetan, roll damage.
Hey, Charlie, hit it.
You did.
Nice.
4 damage.
7 damage.
Okay, between you precisely kill it. As it turns to run, both your daggers plunge into it. And it howls its last howl, and it curls over into a little fetal position.
I like to imagine each of our daggers went in one of the ears.
We have so much meat now. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
We're not going to be able to carry it all.
You can make armor out of this. Or at least
Yeah.
normal
Yeah, I'm
clothing.
thinking clothes for the cold weather.
I mean, that direwolf has got some amazing coat to it. Alright.
I'm just looking forward to walking with my pet.
Okay, you gather up all the bodies. You
Okay, didn't gather.
Oh yeah, what happened to our fires? They probably went out now, right?
I don't think we brought any with us.
No,
The
I
fire
don't
we
think we
haven't
had any,
started.
because the snow was falling too heavily, so they went
I
out.
don't think there's any need to hide the fact that you can just basically cast fire now. Given the fact you just had fire burst from your fingertips and incinerate 2 wolves. Kind of game's up.
No,
And probably the demonic voice came over.
Yeah. And the demonic voice.
Yeah, there are 2 wolves in the bottom right. We want those as well.
Gather up the wolves, gather them up. Pelts. I mean, yeah, wolves' pelts are worth quite a lot.
Versus the
Can
training.
I ask my wolf to stop growling just for a moment so we can hear
Oh yeah. They're calm. It's still got a little bit of light snow, but it's calm and it's peaceful again.
No,
It's a delay on the stream, Charlotte. There you go.
oof. That feels nice.
That was a long time of cooking.
My ears feel attacked.
Just
Yeah, I wish to make a coat or like a armor or
So we
something.
all need to create a
Well,
hardened.
the barbarian doesn't.
okay. So tell me, what are you going to make and how are you going to make it? You've got meat, bones. You've got pelts.
I'd like to create a armor of fur.
Don't forget, by the end of today, you will be at the guard tower.
That'd be nice. And then I can create some fashionable outfits to trade.
Try and skin them to keep the skin intact as coats or pelts.
Yeah, we should probably let the good skinner do all the skinning.
Yeah. Okay. So make a survival roll. Who's got the best survival skills? I'm assuming it's Gaetan.
Yeah.
I've got survival and nature. I don't know if that
I've only got +2 survival.
I got +2 survival.
+3, so not much better. But does the having nature give advantage for this as well, or not so much?
No, not for this.
Alright.
I've got performance.
The wolf nuzzles up to you.
Oh my god. 6.
You start doing the first wolf and you're butchering it. I mean, just the cuts are all.
Let me take over. Do not worry.
Yeah, I'll just nod and hold my wounds now that I'm out of my rage. I'm noticing my wounds a bit better. And
I didn't know great either.
I would like to also help.
Oh, there you go. Leave it to the women.
Freya takes over the skinning part.
Finally useful.
thank you.
What are you going to do with all the meat?
Feast like a motherfucker.
Feast like a motherfucker. So you're going to stop and rest up and heal up a little bit.
We should, instead of, because we're still carrying the leaf, instead of putting water in it, that we drink the leftover water, and then any leftover meat carrying the leaf.
Well, one of the wolves has been absolutely butchered, so you can probably take the pelts from one of them and turn it into a number of water skins to give you quite a lot of capacity for water. That would...
Just water skin.
Yeah. Okay, so you managed to make 6 water skins. So you've got 2 water skins each.
So I have one request. I'd like to remove the dire wolf's head and wear it as a hat.
Of course.
I mean, Gaetan got the final kill in.
So
How does
ask him.
Gaetan...
I just want one of its teeth. One of its long fangs, its canines. I'll have one of them as like a trophy. I don't want the head.
That's fine.
Yeah,
You
okay.
can have one of the two. I didn't know.
You have a head with just one tooth missing.
Okay,
I
so
punched it out.
you managed to get 2 intact wolf pelts. Someone needs to make a note of this. Freya, do you want to make a note
Okay.
as you're doing
I
it?
get out this magical thing called a phone.
Well, no, you put it into your character sheet
Inventory.
inventory.
Do you want me to do it?
Okay, yeah, let Aleph do it. Charlotte, let Aleph.
If I figure out how to add things. Oh, add items, there you go.
Okay, and then you've also got a dire wolf pelt, which is worth a fortune.
There is actually no pelt that you can add.
Put it in
You can add
notes.
it as a note.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I might add a note.
Yeah, put it in notes. Okay, so you've got a dire wolf pelt, 2 wolf pelts, 4 water skins, and as much meat as you can possibly want.
So, 1 dire wolf pelt, 2 wolf pelts.
And 4 water skins. Well, you have 2. Sorry, you have 2 water skins each. Sorry.
2 water skins each.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, there you go. It's now in my notes.
Did you want to start? I mean, Gaetan, you're on the come down now. You're like,
Yeah, I'm just holding the wounds I've got.
yeah. Well, I mean, someone could do a medicine check. Somebody with the skill of first aid.
That's me.
Does
Freya
it
comes
help?
over to you again. Hi, I'm a first aider. Where does it hurt?
Okay. So, do I do...
First aider, dancer, drummer.
Right.
She can do anything. She seems to be attacking, casting spells, healing people, dancing,
A
singing.
bunch of things that my father didn't know I could do because he didn't raise me. Do I need to roll medicine?
Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
D20 plus 2. 8.
Okay. Yeah, you start tending to his wounds, but you've clearly out of practice. You start pulling at the wound, and in fact, one of them starts bleeding even worse than it did before.
Sorry, complete fluke with my first attempt at medicine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Would you like me to singe it?
I would not.
Okay.
I've seen what happens to what you singe.
We're gonna do with all this raw meat. I mean, it'll probably last. It's quite cold. It's really, really cold. It'll probably
Are
last
there
long
any
enough.
of the big leaves again to wrap it
No,
up
we need
in?
to heat it so that we can at least eat.
Yeah, how about we cook it now and then reheat it later?
I've heard these things called microwave.
Okay, you need a bonfire to do that, or some sort of fire.
If only someone could make fire.
So
Almost like I could make bonfires.
Do you want to make a bonfire, Gaetan?
I
Aleph.
say we collect wood.
I do. I cast a spell, create bonfire.
Okay, Aleph holds out his hands, and frustratingly, because he hasn't shown you this before, wood just basically starts flying into this space and instantly catches fire. And within a couple of seconds, you've got a huge fire burning away, made purely of magic, and you are like, what the fuck?
Terribly sorry. I would have shown you earlier, but you might have known my demonic intentions.
Demonic?
Let's just cook the meat and eat it so we can make it to the mountain.
Okay, are any of you concerned about the fact he keeps talking about demonic?
No, not really.
I'm very, just nod and agree.
He seems to be working as part of our team, so at the moment...
Close eye on him, as long as he's
unless he
burning
does
things that
anything
aren't
against
us.
Okay.
For now,
The moment he
we don't have a
turns,
choice.
then we turn.
Okay, you cook the meat, you rest up for a couple of hours, in fact, because you're quite tired.
Brilliant. I have my thing back to normal.
Okay, you get one of your exhaustion points back, Freya, so you're now only down to being minorly exhausted, level 1
Does
exhaustion.
that mean I get mine back too?
Yes, you do.
You're back to normal.
You're mostly for Inspire. I mean, you basically, the hormones, the adrenaline pumping through your system has just basically refreshed you and like woken you up. You know that feeling when you get something really scared, wakes you up. Well, this is kind of what's happened here. You got pumped. The whole thing, natural drugs flowing through your system, has inspired you to feel a lot better. Okay, right, we're going to have to call the session there. Was planning on getting further along, but it's now midnight, so we should definitely call it in. You've now got a wonderful collection of pelts, something you can trade, enough meats, you've got water. You're doing very well, actually. And you shall rest for a couple of hours by the fire and then get ready to start again.
We get a short rest?
You can have a short rest, 1 hour rest, yeah. You can use a short
And
rest.
you get to regain 1 hit die of health, don't you?
Yeah, I don't normally use that rule, but we can definitely start using that if we need to. You can spend and then restore hit die. You have 1 hit die at the moment because you're level 1.
Yeah, 1 per level, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
However,
D&D and Beyond does it for you. If you click short rest, it has a marker.
Okay, I did not know that. There's loads about D&D and Beyond. Okay, so one thing is you're now level 2. This experience and this day has basically awakened the adventurous spirit within your soul. All 3 of you have got 300 experience points that you need to add to your character sheet, and you can now become 2nd level.